The introduction. It was May 22nd, 2022. I remember we had left one restaurant. We was on our way to another because the restaurant we went to at first wouldn't let us in for some reason. We were going to eat dinner together to celebrate it being the last class on the 6-day tour. I remember riding through the city, watching the city lights, having a bittersweet moment. We've been linking up every other week for the last 3 months. I was doing business with a company called KOB. I remember thinking to myself, I was proud of myself just because of what I had accomplished and what I had achieved for myself. On top of what I seen them achieve, what I helped them achieve, and what I got to see them do in front of my face. It was an amazing time. Another reason I was proud of myself is because the head lash tech was so sexy to me, and every time I got the urge to say something or do something in the form of flirting, I controlled myself enough not to do it. That was real mature of me, if I could say so myself, because I wanted to fuck her since the first day I seen her. But I knew this was business, so I couldn't. So I didn't. Wow, I'm growing. I remember sitting in the back seat as we indulged in childish conversation about the class. I could just tell everybody was excited. It was like a mission completed. It wasn't even light, that's what it was. It was a mission completed. I just watched them put together a 6-day tour to go to other states and teach classes how to be estheticians. I seen almost every struggle, every bump, every detour in the road, but I seen them finish it, and I helped them finish it. Once again, that was amazing to me. As we rode through the downtown Atlanta streets, I was looking at the street lights, remembering where I came from. Like, I remember when I was in the penitentiary reading about the industry. I had read some book, I can't even remember the name of it, but in that book it said, if you want to make it in the entertainment industry, you got to be in 3 places: LA, New York, or Atlanta. I was locked up in Virginia at the time I was reading that, and I remember I had got so discouraged I had closed the book and slammed it, thinking to myself, how the fuck I'm gonna get out there? Now look, I'm riding around Atlanta. I got a homegirl that's staying young because the last time I was in New York, I was trying to get to her, but I was glad I didn't because I was on a bunch of pills, and I probably would have had sex with her and not pulled out. Shout out her. She know who she is. I got friends and family in LA, but not like friends and family that were born in my family. More like family that being out there and doing legitimate business will build you. I was blessed by the best. It's crazy, I remember thinking. Thinking about all my people that ain't make it here to see this. Thinking about all the jail time I did, all the juvenile time I did, and just feeling blessed to be in the moment. 6 states. I watched them argue. I watched them fuss. I watched them not feel like going, but I watched them do that shit. That was mind-blowing to me. I remember seeing this reel on YouTube one time of Nipsey Hussle. And Nipsey Hussle said, I still game. You ain't even got to give it to me. All I got to do is see it and see your demonstration, and I apply it to mine. That's exactly what I do. Long live Nip the Crip. On our way to the first restaurant, we all engaged in a funny conversation about what had just happened before we had left that class. It's usually me and 3 lash techs and 2 sisters that come to every state on the tour. This time before we left class, it was just me and the 3 lash techs. It was a new one that they had brought in. I never met her before. And there was a student that had kind of just stayed after the class was over. I remember we were shooting a commercial, and while we were discussing what to be done for the commercial, I remember we had heard a beep. I remember when I heard the beep, I was thinking, damn, that sounded like my camera. Then in my head, I was like, hold on. That was my camera. When I turned around and looked, the student was at my tripod. She had cut my camera on and started recording. I almost lost it. But I told her, hey, what you doing? My daughter don't even touch my camera. She said, oh no, I'm a videographer too. I was just trying to catch the footage for you. I said, nah, don't do that. That was the most weirdest moment in the world. But I was proud of myself because I didn't say everything that came to my head. And for good reason. Because she ain't know me, so she ain't know how I was going to react. And it would have been disrespectful. But just as crazy as it was to me, it was crazy like that to all of us. So as soon as she had dismissed herself, after that small engagement, all of us bust out laughing. That's how you know it was a good time. A time of celebration. Because I don't play by my camera. You can't afford my camera, you'll never touch my camera. I paid $2,400 for my camera. So on our way to the restaurant, that's what we was laughing and joking about. Everybody was putting their 2 cents in, like what they was thinking when they heard that beep. I had been with them so long, when they heard the beep, they knew it was my camera. It was like psychologically, they heard it so many times from me recording them that they knew the sound just as well as I did. And it was funny to us to hear everybody's opinions on what they thought. We pulled up to the first restaurant. They wouldn't let us in. But I remember I had an uneasy feeling getting out the car because we had to leave our bags in the car. Usually when we go out and eat after a class, we'll leave all our stuff in a hotel, so it's never in the car, so I'm never worried. But this time, we didn't have a hotel because this class was in Atlanta. Everybody lives here. We went inside the first restaurant, and for some reason we couldn't get in. I can't remember why. So I remember when we came out of there to go back to the car, I was relieved. Like, damn. I just wanted to hurry up and get to the car and make sure I wasn't nothing took. You can't trust Atlanta like that. Atlanta eat up a lot of tourists and a lot of green people. Because it's a program that going around here. You gonna respect it or get disrespected. Period. Ain't no way around it. It was amazing to me that I came from where I came from and I made it here. But at the same time, when I think about it, I always went through my strongest conditioning by myself and came out with the shine of the sun. But in order for me to be in those positions by myself, the people that I had around me had to hurt me enough or devastate me enough to cut them off. Because I was a sucker when it came to my people. I always been like that. I never once really stopped and thought about it from this perspective. But with me just telling you everything I just told you, I'm a sucker when it comes to my people. Something devastating to happen to where I'm hurt by them and we disconnect. When we disconnect, I be by myself. While I'm by myself, I always get top tier conditioning. So after I come out of that by myself phase, I shine like the sun. I never really put it together that maybe that was God the whole time. I just kind of minimized it and said I'm better by myself. But see, when you look at it like that, you don't respect the process because you don't even know the process. God let me be around them people. God made them hurt me in order for me to get by myself, find him, get strength, figure out who I am, and come out like a ball of fire and scorch everything I touch. You've been doing that my whole life. I remember when I was in the penitentiary, when it was time for us to go to chow, I was the only one that used to work out of my whole clique. And we were in dorms. So when it was time for us to go to breakfast, I was already up, dressed, teeth brushed, face washed, because I was just working out. I had did like 500 push-ups. So right before they cut the lights on, I walk by and smack everybody's bed and wake them up, ask them if they going to breakfast. I wait for everybody to get dressed, and we'll walk out like a mob, 20, 30 deep. I remember it was like that for the majority of the time I was on that compound, until the books I was reading started changing. I used to read a bunch of hood books with gangster shit happening, a bunch of sex, a bunch of crime. I just had an epiphany one day. I was like, man, fuck this book. Everything it's talking about I seen before, and the things that I seen before are the reason that I'm in here. It was like I just lost touch with it in my soul. So I told myself, I'm not going to read no book if it ain't pertaining to my health or it ain't pertaining to the industry. Because I want to be in shape, and I want to be in the industry. When I started reading books like that, my interest for reading them grew rapid to the point that being by myself was the only time I could read them. And to the point that the times where we usually chill and play spades would now be taken by me sitting at my bunk reading books. Even when my friends would try to come get me to play spades, they would see that I was reading, and they knew I was serious about it. So it'll go something like, Streets, you trying to play? Oh, never mind, I see you reading, never mind. And they just leave my bunk. Another change I seen was in the morning when I wake up, I work out, wash my face, brush my teeth, put my clothes on, and I read till they cut the lights on. When they cut the lights on, I walk by, smack everybody bed, wake them up to go to chow. But I go stand at the door with my book and keep reading. When they open the door, I just walk to chow by myself. Not for anything other than I can just comprehend better when I'm reading by myself. No distractions. So me wanting to learn what was in this book and me being interested by it so much made me start moving around by myself so I can get everything out of the book that I wanted. Separation equals elevation. This has happened many a times in my life, but it really wasn't until the incident from this night that I caught the message and that I kind of figured out the parts of this process. See, because I shine regardless. I stick out no matter where I'm at. I mean that literally. Elementary school, middle school, high school, your state, my state. I stick out. But with me sticking out, I attract a lot of people. Some good, some bad, some for me, some not. But with the size of my heart, if they feel right enough times, I grab them and bring them with me. See, me sticking out is me shining. Part of me shining comes from me scorching everything I touch, turning it to gold. Everything I touch works out. But see, the way my heart is, I bring the wrong people with me. Not wrong in the sense of bad people, but wrong in the sense of these people aren't for me. And it's like God to see that while knowing I'm a sucker for the people I care for, which makes him aware of the fact that my heart is going to be too big to cut them off when I need them to, unless they do something so catastrophic to make me lose interest in the relationship. So he'll turn them on me. And when you turn on me, ain't no turning back. Ain't no coming back. I'm all the way cool on you. But today in my life, how I feel about it is I forgive you and I thank God because really he just used you to propel me. And I'm really feeling like it's because you wasn't supposed to come with me. So, I shine, I attract people. My heart big, so the people I attract, I bring them with me. The people I bring with me, more times than not, don't be for me. So God will make them do something to me. And when they do something to me, I cut ties. Once I cut ties, and I don't have a them to talk to, I get back to being by myself. But with the mindset that I'm blessed to have, I feel like the reason I get by myself is so I can learn God's voice inside of me. You know that voice that tell you to do stuff when it's the right thing to do, and when you do it, it turn to gold? See, I used to describe that voice as something inside of me. That's not what it was. That was God. I only call it something inside of me because I knew the people that I was talking to about it didn't perceive what I did on the level I did. So I had to dumb it down for them. But that was God. So once I learned his voice, he tell me what to do. I follow the rules. I take off. And it's like I come out of a hole a bigger man, a whole 100 miles and running, shining like he put me here to do. But then guess what I do? I attract people. My heart big, so I love people. I try to bring them with me. And I just keep repeating that process. Like a grade you do when you don't pass it. You got to keep repeating it until you pass it. The best thing I ever felt like a person could give me was information. So when I bring you these scenarios, know I'm doing this from the deepest place in my heart, so you know what it is when it comes to you, so you know how to handle it, so you can get every blessing he got for you. So this audiobook ain't about me. This audiobook is for me to tell you my story, for you to find the similarities, for me to give you my understanding of where my problems and my issues came from, in those places and them times that I used to call bad times, to show you that they were never bad, they was always necessary, in hopes that you know that whatever you're going through, no matter how bad it feel, it's necessary. And if you close your eyes and open your mind with just enough trust in God to know that even though you might not know what's going on and why it's going on, he is why it's going on, and it's for your good. So if you start looking at it like that, your eyes open, and you watching and you waiting on blessings. And when they fall, you can receive them because you knew it was coming. But if you don't see it like that, your eyes is open, ready for bullshit. So you picking bullshit out the sky. However you choose to do yours is on you. But the way I love me inadvertently makes me love you enough to give you my wisdom on this subject. God is real. But here's the kicker. He's as real as you want him to be. So when I tell you we made it to that second restaurant, and when we came out, all our belongings was gone, and part of those belongings was my camera, which was my whole stream of income, don't feel like it's a call for you to join me in any type of pity. Just know it's a call for you to open your eyes and watch for the blessings, and watch how they fall. Because the camera that got stole was my stream of income. But that was a problem. If the streams of income that you have were legs to a table, your table, and the camera was my only stream of income, then that means my table only had one leg. And what happens when the leg from a one-legged table break? The whole table fall. Now imagine how crazy your head would feel if when your table fell, from them kicking that one leg, you had multiple legs off in your closet somewhere that you just never used for it. Ha! Crazy, right? Guess where I figured that out at? By myself. Since my camera been gone, I've been away from people and I cut a lot of people off. A lot of people violated me, just like they were supposed to. But I've been through this so many times, so I already knew what I was looking for. This what these niggas got lame for? Bitch, I'm the ticket. They know when I get it, we got it. That was the problem. Big Heart Streets trying to save everybody. And I catch wreck. I protect everybody. But when I go to jail, who gon' hold me down? My commissary slips say Tina Brown. Fill my canteen sheets from Pete. Got a few dollars from my Aunt Mary. And the rest of my sheets say MP. When I'm on the street, they love me. They getting beat, they call me. And if I get into it, I'm gon' do me. But at the same time, they'll call the police on me this week. But at the same time, they tell me how to read. I ain't do good in science, but I know alchemy. I was spiritually blind and water for free. My G.O.D. made it wine for me, though. Streets G4G, made for it. I got by myself. I started working out. I stopped having sex, stopped doing drugs. I just paid attention to the voice that was inside of me. And one of the things it said, make an audio book. I asked myself, what would I call it though? Another thing it said, separation equals elevation. Her. Chapter 1, when them times got hard, I had to get a job. Since I can remember, I always went through like a period in my life, since I was moving so fast, where it'll come to a point where it slow down. And it'll slow down due to control that's not mine. I started to feel like God was doing that. Because for some strange reason, on top of the fact being that I'm an observer and a thinker, and I've been like that all my life, I realized through hindsight, it was places I ain't need to be at. And I always found myself by myself. And when I find myself by myself like that, I always level up. So during this particular time, it was like 2019, I was sitting around, I was broke, still rapping, still shooting videos, but I always lacked the ability to manage my money and my finances. So I can make the money, but I don't make enough money, and I don't have enough financial literacy to keep it around. So it'll come, go right through my fingers. On top of the fact we used to do a lot of drugs, Molly, eat pills, cocaine, smoke weed, things of that nature. Anywho, on this particular day, we was sitting in the kitchen in the back of a restaurant that I got a job at because my cousin was the manager. On this particular day, we were slower than normal because all of us was in the back watching the news, and they was talking about something called the coronavirus. Them white people stay trying to kill us. That's what I thought in my head as I watched them talk about how it's making its way into the United States. Not knowing that in a couple of more days, everybody was going to be laid off, and we was going to be laid off for some time. I had just got this job in November. I actually went and got a second job in December. Just one of them times I was sitting by myself, just tired of being broke. You heard what I said? By myself. It was like when I was by myself, I could hear my voices clear. I ain't sure if everybody got voices. I got voices, though. And when I'm around a bunch of people, the voices in my head get real foggy. I can't tell who's talking. But when I'm by myself, the one that I listen to is so loud and so clear. When they come, I just do it. So it just told me, in November, go fill out an application for a restaurant that was across the street. I did that, got the job. That same voice told me in a couple days after that, go fill out another application for a job that's right beside it, and call my cousin because he was the manager and let him know I put in the application. I did it, got the job. This was a hard pill for me to swallow because since I got released from prison in 2011, I had prepped myself through that whole bid to come home and become my own entity or my own business and never need a job. I used to hear my mom say that when I was little. Even when I had jobs and I used to complain to her about things that go on at the workplace, she'd get real mad if I referred to the man I worked for as my boss. I knew I was a soldier when I was locked up, so I trained myself like that. I used to tell myself in my mind, I ain't nothing like them. I don't want to look like them. I shouldn't eat like them because I ain't supposed to be nothing like them. And I came home just like that. I ended up making my way to Atlanta due to a girl I was messing with getting pregnant that stayed in Atlanta. Before my newborn was a month old, we got into it, she kicked me out. And she kicked me out while I was visiting Virginia for my grandmother's funeral. But prior to me getting on the road to Virginia, I had shot a video for some guys that stayed on the west side. So when my baby mama kicked me out, they had called me a couple days after that, and the phone call went, bro, I need you to pull up tomorrow, man. We shooting a video on Fulton. I responded, man, I don't need to stay in Atlanta no more. My baby mama kicked me out. My homeboys reply, bro, you can come stay with us. Fuck that hoe. We both laughed. I was on the next thing smoking back to Atlanta. You ain't shit. Made me take my daughter and move her away from you and change my number so you'll never find us again. My daughter really don't need no dad. And if you can't afford to pay for your daughter, you shouldn't be able to see your daughter. Matter of fact, why don't you sign the rights over to me and my man, but we could raise your child ourselves and just leave us alone. That's the type of shit my baby mama used to say to me. But that was the same shit that I needed for my gas to turn the fuck up. In a matter of time, it felt like I shot videos for the whole Atlanta. Sometimes I even fall asleep on video shoots. Then I hear, you ain't shit. I wake right back up. I be tired sometimes, but when it's time to shoot another video, I be wanting to go home and go to sleep. And then I hear, sign your rights over. My daughter don't need you as a dad. I get right back up. And when my body didn't agree with that decision, I pop some Molly. That always put me and my body back on the same page. I did all that and got big-headed. Came back to Virginia, where I had really no clientele to keep the money coming in that I had coming in, and I fell off. I didn't even have enough money to get back to Atlanta. So I ended up staying in Virginia, getting in trouble, catching cases. So now I'm back here with a dishwashing apron on, with my old heads watching the news. I feel like a piece of shit. I watched that coronavirus come from China or Japan, wherever it was at, to the United States, to our city. Next thing I know, everybody laid off. What the fuck? Chapter 2, COVID-19. I remember we was out of work for like 2 weeks. I was doing real bad. Ain't had no money to eat, and I ain't money to buy weed, to smoke, and forget about it. Walking up the street, I see my little cousin. He was real excited when he seen me. He said, "Hey, cuz, you ain't got your check yet?" I said, "What check?" He said, "Nigga, they sending out money for the coronavirus." They sending out money for the coronavirus? I thought to myself, what you mean they sending out money for the coronavirus? He said, something called a stimulus. They just sent me $1,200 to my phone. It was really kind of like a bittersweet moment, because I was happy he got it. But then it rang in my head, when things like that happen, people receive money or some type of luck like that, it never happens to me. And to be honest, that's been the norm for so long. That feeling came and went. Nah, they ain't sent no money to my phone. He replied, "You got to set it up with your Cash App." I said, "What you mean?" He said, "Give me your phone." He ended up going through a menu on my Cash App I ain't never even seen before. He passed the phone back to me, told me to input some of my information. I did that, gave the phone back. He did the same thing, gave the phone back. Next thing I know, he was like, "All right, it's done." I asked him, "What do that mean?" He replied, "You should be getting your money in a couple days." I ain't getting no fucking money. That's what I thought to myself. Out loud, I just said, "Word, let me get a cigarette, cuz." When I was 19, I met a girl that was 25 that I was so in love with that I actually lied to her until I was 21 until we had sex. It went from that to 13 years of a dysfunctional relationship that was on and off so much that when the people from my city hit this part of the book, they gonna know who I'm talking about. I don't think we ever loved anybody the way we loved each other. And still to this day, we still honor the positions we have in this friendship. Mine's protection. I'll never let nobody do anything to her. Hers, the finances. I personally never knew how to file my taxes. I still don't to this day. But every time my taxes did get filed, it was because of her. If it was anything requiring my social security number, that was who did it. That's been her position for so long. Now she'll do it without even letting me know. I just reap the benefits. Won't even know where they come from until we talk. I remember she called my phone one day, and she had asked me had I received my stimulus check yet. I told her yeah, and she asked me did I do that myself. I told her no, my cousin did it. We laughed, because she knew I ain't do it. She then began to start explaining another process to me, some called the PUA. But like I said, we know each other so much, I think soon as she started talking, the moment I stopped paying attention, she stopped talking and said, "Never mind, I'll do it." Whatever. What I thought in my head. All right, we just hung up. A couple of days later, I got a Cash App notification that kind of caught me off guard, because I ain't been doing no business, and it's been a while since I even received any money through Cash App, so the notification really caught my attention. When I looked at my Cash App, I had to double take. And the second time I looked at it, I couldn't believe what I was looking at. In my Cash App, $5,000 had just been deposited. What the fuck? I didn't know where that had came from, but I was sure it was a mistake. So before whoever sent this money can request it back or take it back out of my account, I sent it straight to the woman that handled all my finances account. I don't know about y'all, but I'm from the hood, so my body was warm like I just took that money. I almost had to remind myself, yo, I ain't do nothing. I ain't robbed nobody. That just came in my account. I almost even prepared myself to do some jail time for it, because I don't care if Obama send me that money. If he can't prove I got it, I ain't get it. And if he can, I ain't sending it back. I don't know where it's at. Yeah, you heard me. Do some jail time for it. Now, I know one of you square bears is probably thinking, he'll do some time for $5,000. I've been doing time my whole life, and it was for free. Damn right I'll do some time for $5,000 right now. Needless to say, that $5,000 came from the PUA that my friend had signed me up for, that she was trying to explain to me on the phone, that she knew I wasn't going to understand, so she just did it. Now I got $5,000 in my account, and she just informed me that I'm going to be getting $750 every week for a few weeks. Sound like a lot of money, don't it? How much would it sound like if you add in the fact that I still have no financial literacy? And at the end of the day, product ain't profit with no process. I made it up myself, and you can live by and die by that. If you ask some people, Adam bit that apple because of Eve, it was stupid because he was a grown man. But to a human being who's aware of and respects process, he fully understands Adam was a grown man via his age, not his process. So he wasn't really a grown man. You knew he wasn't supposed to bite that apple because you've been here for 25 years. Let's just say Adam came into this world at 25, so he knows about as much as a baby. Ain't no process. Product ain't profit without process. If he broke and he win the lottery, he's probably gonna be broke again. I kind of got that from TD Jakes. But for the time being, with his $5,000, that's $750 a month. Nigga, we made it. Chapter 3, new equipment. It's a lot of people that know of me, so they can say, yeah, street shoot videos, but not many of them know me on a personal level, or even enough to know that I taught myself how to shoot videos on YouTube, watching hours and hours and hours of editing videos, or videos on how to shoot, how to set up my settings in my camera, what type of camera to get. Through doing all that, I gained the knowledge of upgrading my equipment anytime I wanted to because I have a specific way of finding out information on YouTube from doing it for so long. So now that I got this PUA money, I'm finna revamp my whole business. Street Vision need new cameras, a new laptop. I need some hard drives, need some lenses, and I need some drones. I also been looking up shirt printing machines because I like to have my logo on my shirt, and I don't really want to go through anybody to do it. In addition to having my own machine to make my own shirts, I'm also around artists 24/7. I'm around businesses and brands that are looking for me to help them build an online awareness. So these are things that can come into play to make more money off of doing a video, because who doesn't need their logo on a shirt, right? Right. I also just had my daughter come to Virginia from Atlanta so she could stay with me, and she was going to be here for the summer. So I went and got a timeshare for the month. The feeling of having my child in a place where it's just us and she can have her freedom, she can run around, I could work, was a feeling to me I never felt before. To the point it was a few times I woke up in the middle of the night and just seeing her all crouched up under me, knowing she's protected, she's here, she's going to be here when I wake up, and I'm going to be able to hear her say, Daddy. Brought tears to my eyes and made me get out the bed and get on my knees. Thank God. Because I don't just love my baby, but I need my baby for motivational purposes. Over the next few days, I have been on YouTube searching for the newest 4K cameras and a $2,500 price budget that I can afford that had just came out. I ran across a camera called a Sony A7 III. I watched a few review videos about it on YouTube and I decided, yeah, that's the one. Next, I needed a drone. After further investigation, I came across a drone called the DJI Mavic Air 2. And for $1,200, you can get it in a kit, which comes with extra batteries and some extra pieces and features you're going to end up needing anyway. Yeah, that's him. Bought that too. Next, I started looking at videos that could tell me the pieces that I needed to start a shirt pressing business. In between doing that, it kind of hit me. Damn, I think better when I'm by myself. Like, you got to remember, I came out of the penitentiary rapping. We had a hard video that was shot by a videographer. And once the situation got messed up with us and him, we didn't have nobody to shoot our videos no more. So really, I had to learn how to shoot videos. But I remember my man was our cameraman, but he was only our cameraman because he had a camera, not because he was skilled in shooting videos. I even remember the night I asked him to leave his camera at my house before he went home. That spot used to be like the party spot. So if I was in there, it was always at least 3 or 4 people in there. Now, if you really think about it, when 3 or 4 people around, speaking their mind, they interrupt the thoughts on your mind. So when you get a thought and say, hey, I wonder if this is such and such, in your head, when they get a thought and they say, I wonder is this such and such in their head, and they ask you, they interrupt you from answering the question that came to your head, that's a distraction. But if that was a God-sent thought, a human being just stopped you from acting on it. So now if you think about when you're alone, when you get those thoughts and you can't be distracted from answering those questions or killing the curiosity by looking it up or researching it, you can get a lot done. That's why I thought, hey, I want to make shirts. I was able to research a machine, find the machine, buy the machine, get the machine to me and learn how to work it. Because when God sent me those thoughts, I was by myself. So there was nobody around to distract me from investigating it. So that's like an example of separation equaling elevation. So as of right now, I got a new camera. It shoots 4K. I got a new drone. I ordered the equipment that I needed to make shirts. I couldn't find a heat press online, but just so happened I had a little cousin in the city that was trying to sell her heat press. I ended up buying her heat press from her for $150. So now I got a Cricut cutter. I just ordered the Epson printer. and I bought the heat press from my cousin. An additional benefit to having my daughter in that timeshare was I don't really like bringing her around girls, and I don't like girls being around her, especially girls that she's not going to know for a long period of time, or girls that I don't even feel like are suitable to be around my child. So while she was there, I didn't bring any females over there. The only women that had access to that timeshare or that even knew where I was at was family. So that means in the times when my daughter was occupied, I was able to research more and more. I started looking up ways to ensure that I'd be able to not only keep the money that I got from PUA, but flip it legally. So I learned about liabilities and assets. So really the only thing I was buying was assets. I bought the camera because I can make money off it. I bought the drone because I can make money off it. I got the shirt press, the Epson printer, and the Cricut cutter because I can make money off it. So no matter what I go through, from here on, I'm going to be able to make money off of what I just purchased with the PUA money. It almost feel like reparation. 40 acres and a mule. But it ain't. It's more like 2 yards and a dog. I mean, it was a step forward though. But it was something that I thought of, accomplished, and got established when I was by myself. That's what the voice inside me told me. I ain't never forgot that. Chapter 4, not calling all bullshit. I remember when I was younger, one of my friends had gave me this nickname, BDHO. And it stood for blunt, disrespectful, and honest. I mean, it was funny, but it was facts. Because I am blunt, and it might come off as disrespect, but I'm really just being honest. I never really understood what that would do for a snake that's around you and is trying to stay undercover. Or like a wolf in sheep clothing. It's like once he know that he on some BS, it's like he becomes better with his disguise. I guess it's where the term, you play a fool to catch a fool, comes from. Most of my life with girls, I usually had my way because I was always honest. Like the objective was always sex. But when I realized that me telling the truth got me the same sex that guys didn't get from getting caught in lies, it kind of like became my superpower. In addition to that, I grew up in an abusive household. We didn't know it was abusive while we was growing up because it was our normacy. We know it's abuse now according to definition. But in that house, I was raised by a stepdad that could ask me a question and I'd lie so fast because I was so scared of what he was going to do to me. That kind of gave me a complex about lying. Because now I feel like for me to lie to you, I have to be in fear of you. And now if I feel like you think I'm in fear of you, you activate another place of trauma that I don't even want to go into. Another thing about lying with me is my family broke my heart one time when I was a child, and they don't even know it. They might know when they hear this book, but my heart been like that. But when I found out that my stepdad wasn't my real dad, it helped me come to the conclusion that the times that he used to beat me like he used to beat me, and I used to tell people, them thinking I was lying, kept it going on. The times he used to beat me like he used to beat me and talk to me and say things to me that he used to say to me, I felt like I only went through that and was devastated like I was because I was lied to and I was told that that was my dad. So with me thinking that that was my dad, I put a lot of time and energy and effort in my childhood years into trying to get him to love me. It felt like he got away with the things he got away with me because I was labeled a bad child. So therefore, when I made a complaint about what was going on, nobody believed me. And then when I found out that he wasn't my dad, my whole family knew, that broke my heart. I hate with a passion a liar today. And to be honest, like I'm known to be, it actually has nothing to do with you. But it has played a big part in my life in relationships with females, from when I was a kid to parts of me being a grown man. Because me telling the truth always got me to where I was trying to get. I didn't understand that that was only one side of the way to treat a woman. I had no remorse. So I've done things for the sake of being honest, like stop having sex in the middle of it and letting the female know, hey, your vagina stink. I think growing up in a household and in an environment where your feelings weren't important kind of disabled me from considering women's feelings. Even though after I told her that she may start crying, because we was only 15, I took it like I told the truth. You should be happy with that. I didn't understand until I got older that I got that perception of dealing with women from having my mom lie to me so much. Even through my tears, even through my hurt, just lie. I was too young to know that she was trying to protect me. All I knew was she didn't tell me the truth, and she looked me in my eyes and didn't do it. I remember one time I had came in the house high when I was like 17. At the time, we was just smoking weed. But if you smoke weed, you know how weed will slow your mind down and have you live in the moment. And it will enable you to catch everything that's going on right in front of your face. So I came in the house one night. My mom had seen my eyes was red. And at the time, I was getting in a lot of trouble. And I guess she just had enough. So she had broke down and started crying. And she had asked me, did I remember when I used to ask her if my stepdad was my real dad? I said, yeah. She said, well, he's not. She told me my real dad was my older sister's dad and that he died in Texas. He got shot in his chest. But what she didn't know was one of her older friends that came to the house to see her all the time had already told me who my dad was. He already told me where he stayed at and that he was still living in the same city we stayed in. I watched her cry and cry and cry, but I knew she was lying. And in that moment, it felt like my heart broke and something inside of me picked up the pieces and put it back together. I overheard a conversation when I was 16, right after she got shot, that confirmed that he wasn't my dad. It hurt my feelings real bad, but I never said anything. They didn't even know I was in the house when they were talking about it. So to now see her sit in my face, crying, to my knowledge, putting on a show, to convince me, made me feel like, oh, this is what women do. Something else that I learned in that situation was how far a person will go when they don't know that you know the truth. It takes years to trust somebody, but it could take 2 conversations to lose every bit of trust you ever worked for. Kind of remind me of that movie Paid in Full, when A was talking to Al Poe, and he figured out that he had shot Mitch, and Poe didn't even know that he realized it. I can't remember that dude's name, but he's a hell of an actor. And the reason I feel like that is because that face he made was 100% accurate via feelings. And I know that because I've been making that face for a long time. It hurt. But after you go through it so many times, it's normal. It's life. Move around it. When my mama got shot, she got shot 8 times. I was scared to death. I thought she was going to die. But she didn't. I feel like that's why I may appreciate her a little more than the usual may appreciate their mom, because they never almost lost their mom. And getting close to that place in my mind and to have God bring her back is a feeling I can't even explain. I used to think I hated my sister. When we used to fuss each other out, we used to say the meanest shit. At the time, it wasn't mean. It was normal. And I ain't care what my sister said because I don't even like her. That's what I thought. Then she died. I kind of got to pause right now so it don't affect my voice while I'm doing this audio book, because I did not like my sister. I love my sister. And I miss my sister. Now I also have a daughter that reminds me of my sister. And my daughter gives me my gas when I'm feeling down or when I'm not feeling motivated. The way she talks to me, the way she looks at me, how much she loves me, it just keeps me going. But I say what I say about my mom, my sister, and my daughter to give you what I think are like my basis for me treating women different. It's kind of hard for me not to look at them like a mom because a woman like her raised me. It's kind of hard for me not to love them like I don't get to love my sister because I realize how fast they can be gone. It's kind of hard for me not to consider their feelings like I do my daughter because they're somebody's daughter. But at the same time, something that I learned out of the situation with my mom was when they lying, just be quiet and just let them tell the whole lie. It's usually always bigger than the moment. But if you don't say anything, you'll make them think that you can't see it. And when they think you can't see it, they get real comfortable. And it'll help you see the person that they've been trying to hide the whole time. What you do from there is on you. But you definitely have options that you can exercise now because they sleep. You woke and they think you sleep. So they extra sleep. What I learned from the situations with my sister was females go off their feelings and they say the craziest shit in the world. Males do that too. They say it's a female trait, but I'm starting to feel like it's a human trait. And them saying males don't do that is a part of the backwoods learning that we've been doing our whole life. That's why we turn 30 and start learning how to do things we supposed to have been taught at 14 and 15 as black men. It's cool. I'm on y'all ass now, though. What I learned from the relationship with my daughter is how to filter my comments. Because when my daughter do things or ask me things, my initial response with her is the same it is with everybody. And just let my heart talk. But see, with my daughter, I don't like when my daughter cry. I know when my daughter's feelings are hurt. I don't like being responsible for that. So I learned how to filter my comments and really edit things that come out of my mouth when I'm talking to women off of dealing with my daughter. On the flip side, it all helped me become a better businessman and a better human being because I can control my feelings when I feel like you lying to me in my face. I can sit back with the patience enough to let it play out because God's going to always tell me what's really going on. And if you're a woman, you can say the worst things in the world, but I understand that it's fully from your feelings. I know how I feel to be in your feelings, and I know how you feel has nothing to do with reality. I like to live in reality, so I can deal now. I treat people different because I see people different. But on the flip side of that, I can see bullshit a mile away. And I know not to say anything because when I see it, I get an opportunity to learn more about this tactic. And before long, it's going to play out like it always do. You know when they say what happened in the dark comes to the light? I bet you the only people that don't believe that now are people that you know things about that they don't even know you know. I pity the fool, Mr. T. Chapter 5, CC. It was 2021. I was back living in Lithonia, Georgia. I went to the corner store that I always go to. I ran into my homeboy that was a security guard up there. He started talking to me about some girl that he met, and he wanted me to meet her. She needed video work. What I didn't tell him was, from my time being in Atlanta or being in Georgia, period, I learned that people that introduce you to people usually only introduce you to the type of person they are. Not to say nothing bad about my homeboy, but he don't do what we do. He don't shoot videos, so he don't have the discernment I have for clients. When they come to him, all money is good money. But I've been shooting videos for a while, so I can talk to a person on the phone and get an idea when they full of crap. I can talk to somebody in person and get the same idea because of my level of discernment. But just like I said from the previous chapter, I stopped calling all BS and I let it play out. So now I really know who's who. Because of the type of heart he got, I took him up on his offer. He gave me her number, I gave her a call. Now for me shooting videos for so long, I kind of have a level of discernment you will only understand if you were in this field. I work with artists that are established and that are allot money in a campaign for a budget to pay for video work. Then I've worked with artists and came from the artists where they feel like they want to pay $150 to shoot a video that looks like it's on BT just to show it off. They don't have their music copyrighted. They don't own the beat. Usually the artists like that always need favors. And as a videographer, when you come to understand the fact that you get paid two ways, which is getting paid for your service and or credit, you consider the fact that they want a discount on the payment, and on the credit side of things, they don't have their music copyrighted. So it's really not even a credit worth having. So it's safe to say that you shooting them a video is actually you doing them a favor. But it's disguised as business. And a favor is personal. You'll even consider the fact that you're probably doing a favor for somebody that wouldn't do a favor for you. That's wasted time. I am so not into that. I learned how to shoot videos from not having a videographer, some would say. Well, if you ask me, I learned how to shoot videos because I wanted my videos shot that bad. I know how to mix my music because I know how to mix music, some would say. No, that's not the case. I learned how to mix music because I wanted my music mixed so bad I didn't have money to pay for it. So the only way I could have it done was to look it up, research it, and do it myself. When I simplify all of that, it all breaks down to I know how to do what I know how to do because I wanted it that bad. And when I wanted it that bad, when granted the opportunity to learn how to do it or to do it myself, I jumped on it with no hesitation. Meaning, every time I was in the studio behind an engineer that was mixing music, when I wanted to know what he was doing, I asked him because I was sitting behind him watching him the whole time. Every time I was in the studio where I had access to being on the mixing board, I would be on the mixing board, pushing buttons, learning what this does, and that does. Only thing I can sum that up to is I want it that bad. Therefore, when you talk to me and you telling me about something that you want so bad, I fully understand that it's two want so bad everybody's talking about. One person that want it so bad, they want it so bad, they're going to talk about it all day, and they can't get it off their mind, and it excites them when they hear about it, and it excites them when they're in conversations about it. They full of shit. I want it so bad are people that want it so bad that they can't talk about it because they occupied trying to figure out how to do it. So when the opportunity comes where they get a chance to do it, they jump on it, run through it, and graduate from it. They're my type of people. I have discernment because I could be around you for a little bit and tell which ones you are. On the first phone call I ever had with CC, it came to me immediately. She's full of shit, and she's lazy. Not trying to be mean, but it was certain things that she said that let me know where her mind was at. But yet and still, because it's for my homeboy, I'ma try this out. She asked me about the price for my videos. When I told her, she put it off a few weeks. Strike one. Then she kept telling me she wanted me to hear her song. Well, in order for me to hear the song and come up with an idea for the video, that's actually starting the video process. I charge a deposit fee. So for me to start working on the video process before I get a deposit fee is like going to McDonald's and biting a Big Mac before you get it. It's never going to happen. But off the strength that I even had to explain that to her, lets me know she don't do enough business to know business. That means she kind of like a rookie. I don't have time for those. Strike two. The date that we had set to meet for the video, she never came through. But to be honest, I already knew she wasn't going to come through. And being that I didn't want to work with her, just off the strength that she was a rookie and I don't have time to burp her, I was cool with that. But that was strike three. From there, I put her phone number under a feature in my phone where I can mute her phone calls. Because I wasn't going to answer the phone anymore. Because she wasn't even about no business. So I wasn't interested. On top of that, the video that she wanted to shoot was to a song she hadn't even recorded yet. And when I asked her when she was going to get it recorded, she replied with a, "I think." I'm definitely not interested. But there was only one problem with that. We both go to the same corner store. So the next time I had seen her, she had caught me in there while I had stopped to get some gas on my way to a video that I was kind of late to. When she seen me, she yelled my name. But I was in a rush, and I kept telling her I had to go. But she insisted that I listen to her song real quick. Strike 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my God. Because in that instance, I learned, she don't even value time. Because here I am letting you know that I'm late for a video they're paying me to be at. And you want me to sit at your car and listen to this weird-ass song for free and be late. Either you don't value time or you just self-centered enough to put what you want from me before what I need for myself. Just the thought of that interfered with me listening to that song in its entirety. It kind of made me mad and gave me the strength to say, "Hey, I gotta go. Just call me later." I told her that knowing I wasn't going to answer the phone for her because there wasn't no point. She even told me before I left that she was going to put another date on the video. She didn't even apologize for not making the first one. So for the next few days, she called. I ain't answered one time. But I did go back to that corner store. And guess who I seen again? Cece. But this time was different because I was in a way better mood and I was in a way better space in my life, so I had more time in my day. Now, ironically, she still hadn't recorded the song. Some would say it's ironic, but I wasn't surprised. The people that she had categorized herself with in my head, they usually do shit like that. Do a whole lot of talking, no action. And they always got a reason they didn't do it. And I think that reason just helps them feel good about not doing it or something. I don't really know that part, but they never do it, so I wasn't surprised at all. I ended up telling her I had a studio at my house, and if she was to come by herself, she could use the studio herself, but she had to record herself. She said she was cool with that. She ended up coming to my house one night, and the plan was I was going to edit a video that I had just shot, and she was going to record herself in my studio. The way I had looked at it, I'm helping her out, and she ain't taking nothing from me because I got something to do. I'm going to still get it done. She's going to record her song, and sometime after that, we're going to shoot the video, and I get paid for that. So I'm cool with that. It was only one problem when it came time for us to link for that. I set my room up to where I could sit at the table and edit my video, and I set the studio up to where she could have her own space over there. She came in my room and told me, "I really don't know how to record myself, or I never did it before, actually. And I kind of just wanted to smoke a blunt and chill." What the fuck? This further confirmed how right I was with my hypothesis about these type of people. Because every time I had the chance to record myself, I took full advantage to the point they had to tell me when I had to leave. Because I wanted to do it that bad. So now I'm watching her, after hearing all this bullshit about how bad she wanted to do this music thing, sit on my bed, roll a blunt, talk about shit I'm not even concerned with and people that I don't know, instead of taking the opportunity to record herself and get this music done. Soon as she leave, I'm going to block her number, is what I said to myself. Not too long after that, it was an incident in Virginia that had happened in August, where the young man I had helped raise and considered to be like my child was murdered. I was furious and I was heartbroken. I grabbed my gun and I went straight to Virginia. I stayed out there for like a month and a half maybe. I don't really remember. But I did see her call me a few times while I was there. I definitely didn't answer. I ended up coming back to Latonia in September. And I remember I was at the gas station getting some gas. My nerves was fucked up. I heard somebody yell my name from the right side of me. I almost forgot I wasn't in Virginia, so the first thing that came to my mind was shoot. I grabbed my gun and when I looked, it was her. It scared me so bad that I got mad and I told her, "Don't do that again, I almost shot you." The look that went over her face when I told her that kind of reminded me of my little sister when I yelled too loud at her. It made me calm down and feel bad for what I had just told her. Meaning every word of it. I had to mentally console her now. So I engaged in the conversation she was trying to have. She told me she had the money for the video now and that she still wanted to shoot it with me, if I still wanted to shoot it. Me still feeling bad for what I had just told her and how she reacted, my heart wouldn't let me tell her no. So I said yeah. On the day we had scheduled to shoot the video, I had my daughter with me for a couple of days before that. So the plan was for me to take my daughter with me to shoot her video, drop my daughter back off at home because by the time I got done with her video, my cousin was going to be back home so someone can stay at the house with my daughter while I go shoot a second video or the second video that I had to shoot on Campbellton Road. I take my daughter everywhere with me except for the hood. I don't like her being anywhere with me where I got to watch my surroundings. As traumatic as it may be, I'm good because that's my normal. But to have my baby in that, I don't feel good at all. So it worked out perfect. I was going to shoot her video at 3 o'clock. I estimated that to be about 3 hours. I was going to end up getting to that video on Campbellton by 6. While my daughter was being watched by my cousin, I was going to be back to the house where they were at around about 9:30 or 10 o'clock. So that was perfect. I had discussed it with my daughter. She was cool with it. Brought it across my cousin's table. She was cool with it. That's what we was doing. So sometime before 3 o'clock, I get a phone call from Cece. She tells me she has a flat. She still wants to shoot the video. She's just waiting for her flat to get fixed. First thing that come to my head, she full of shit, and I've been knew this. I shouldn't have put it on my schedule. But it's cool because it's the last time she gonna be on it. Long story short, she ended up sending me pictures of her tire. Her tire was real messed up. She ran over a piece of pole or something, and it blew a whole hole out of her tire. She had told me she had been sitting on the side of the highway for almost an hour or two, I think. It kind of disturbed me when she said that because she was a woman, she was from out of town, and I knew wasn't nobody gonna stop her and help her. Somebody might stop and kidnap her out here. I asked her where she was. She told me she was right up the street. So my big brotherly instinct kicked in. I grabbed my daughter. I said, yo, I'm about to come up there and change her tire. When I get up there, I think she didn't have a tire jack or something. It was for some reason we couldn't change that tire. Another dude ended up stopping while we was checking the tire out, trying to figure out what we can do. Long story short, I ended up taking her to a tire shop. So now my day that was supposed to start at 3 o'clock and end at 6 with her turned into taking her to this tire shop to get a price, then taking her to this tire shop to get a price, then taking her here to do this, then bringing her back here for they could change the tire here, waiting for it to get done so she don't have to be in the sun, she could sit in the AC. It got to the point my daughter started getting frustrated. So the last spot I had took her to when she got out of the car, my daughter said, Dad, do we got to take her everywhere? I explained to my daughter that she was a woman, just like she was going to be. And the responsibility of a man is to help a woman when he see her in need. So if my daughter is ever in need when she gets older, it's men that's going to stop and help her because her dad was this type of man. She still wasn't cool with that, but she had to deal with it. I just grabbed her and hugged her and kissed her and tried to make her forget about it by making her laugh. I still had to go shoot another video on Campbellton, but just so happened those were like my homeboys. So when I told them I was going to be a little late behind helping somebody do something, they weren't tripping. They be up all night anyway. The only thing I was worried about was having a babysitter for my daughter while I was gone because my cousin is real serious about her sleep. So around 9:30, 10 o'clock, she in the bed getting ready for her next day of work. But then when I thought about it, I said, oh, I could just get Cece to stay with her at my house until I get back, being that I was late from helping Cece with her tire. Not to mention, she didn't say anything about the video, so that means that money was missed and probably never to return. She did offer to pay me for helping her or assisting her with trying to get her tire straight, but I wasn't going to take that money. I did it because I've been in that position before where nobody will help me. I also did it because she's a single mother, just like my mom. But I did tell her I had another video to shoot, and I didn't want to bring my daughter with me. So I asked her if it was possible that she could stay at my house and stay with my daughter until I get back. Guess what she said? I'm tired. What the fuck? By this time, it was like 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night. I had texted my cousin to see if she could still watch her, but my cousin didn't respond. That means she was asleep. So that means my daughter had to come with me to Campbellton Road, now 11:30 to 12 o'clock at night. As soon as I pulled up for the video, I already knew what type of spot it was, and my daughter had to be with me. When I went and knocked on that door, I heard the music playing. I seen niggas standing in the hallway. I knew it was a trap spot. I was furious. When I walked in, the young man with the gun said, "Oh, that's Streets." He dapped me up. He let me in. They said, "Hey, Seven," talking to my daughter. I was furious. I had to wait for the artist to change his clothes while my daughter had her iPad and my headphones hooked up to it. Every time somebody knocked on the door, anxiety ran through my body. And I look at my baby, sitting in a fucking trap. I was furious. Me and my daughter got back to my house at like 3:34 in the morning. We went to sleep. When I woke up, my cousin had asked me about me texting her. And I basically just told her everything that happened. I seen the attitude through her facial expression. As she tightened up her face, she looked at me and said, "I don't like that bitch," referring to Cece. Just off the strength that I had went so hard for her. And the least she could have did was watch my child, being that I was late to my video because of her. A few weeks later, I was coming from a studio called The Collab from taking some footage to my homeboy JP. When getting off on Panola Road, as soon as I got to the exit, my car started smoking. I was rocking and rolling, getting off on Panola. First I smelt it, then I see my hood start smoking. One thing about me in the cars I rolling, I am retarded. I don't know shit about it other than start it. I know how to crash, I know how to park it. Hop out on police and hide in apartments. Streets G4G, LLC freestyle. I had to call my cousin to pull up on me because my car had broke down right at the Panola exit. Me hoping for the best, I thought all I needed some oil. I don't know nothing about cars though, so I had my cousin take me to go get some oil. I came back to where my car was parked on the side of the interstate, filled it up with oil, tried to crank it, still wouldn't cut on. Me and my cousin had reached an agreement to just go home and let a tow man come see about it in the morning. I knew she was tired. I didn't want to keep her out too long. Damn, I was mad. I remember when we pulled in the driveway, me seeing the parking spot I usually park my car in empty, and me in the driveway without being in my car, made me nauseous, dog. To the point, I said something aloud like, "Damn." My cousin just looked at me and said, "Yeah, I know, cuz. It's gonna be all right. You gonna get it back." A part of my reputation in Atlanta is what keeps me booked so much. For one, I do drugs, so I'm always up, all night, every night, rapping, shooting a video, or editing. So when you call, I'm gonna be up. And if you calling about some money, I'm pulling straight up. I don't care where it's at. I don't care what time. I don't even care about being tired. I had to go to gas stations on my way to shoot videos because it was like 5 o'clock in the morning on the third day I was up, and I needed some coffee so I wouldn't fall asleep before I got there because I'm going to get that money. So if you ask an artist in Atlanta about me, they'll say, "Call Streets. He going to pull up." And they was right. So the thought of not being able to do that, having an effect on my income, almost made me depressed because now I'm walking. Before I lost my car, I was a member at LA Fitness, where I met a guy in the sauna one time that had a clothing brand, and he was telling me about a pop-up shop that he was having sometime in the next few weeks. Those next few weeks that came around, he had hit me and booked me to come shoot at his pop-up shop. It was a little different now because now I ain't have a car. I still told him, yeah, because I'm going to figure out a way to get there. One day I went walking to the corner store to get my usual, a Black and Mild, a pack of red Pringles. While in the store, I heard somebody call my name. "Streets." I was annoyed before I turned around because I knew who it was, and I didn't understand how the hell she keep catching me in this damn store. It was Cece. She came up to me telling me about a clothing line she had just started for her kids and how she would like to work with me on a commercial to promote the brand. She also assured me that she still wanted to get the video that she never got done a couple of months ago. I think me being bothered by the conversation was almost the cause of me missing the opportunity that laid in this conversation, which was she needed me to shoot a commercial for the clothing brand that she had started for her kids. A clothing brand commercial will widen my portfolio, not to mention they're usually only like 30 seconds long, so it'll be nothing to do. On top of all of that, I gotta shoot this pop-up shop. So maybe I should shoot her commercial in exchange for her taking me to that pop-up shop. Soon as it hit my head, I asked her. She said, yeah. Then she gave me some spiel about how I helped her when her car was down, so that's the least she can do. I couldn't help but think to myself, is she slow or is she trying to run game and she just think I don't see it? I don't know, but I know if I be quiet, sooner than later, it's gonna pop out like a puzzle piece in the wrong place. Cause that's what it always do. Kinda had already got it through my head that we won't finna do no business. I even tried to have sex with her one night while I was on a bunch of E-pills. It wasn't because I was ever attracted to her, it was more so because she was just right up the street. And I'm not saying she's ugly, I'm just saying she's not my type. A couple hours before I was assigned to shoot, I was already dressed and sitting downstairs, playing on my phone. I had already sent Cece the time that we had to be there a couple days ago, so she should be on time. That's what I'm thinking. The location of the shoot was about 30 minutes away. But if you're familiar with Atlanta and its traffic, whatever you got planned, if it's between certain hours, you better plan with the traffic. So I did just that. It was 30 minutes away. I put an extra 15 minutes on it just for insurance that I'd be on time. She still was late. Before I go any further, I do want to establish this. I'm not mad at anybody you're going to hear me talking about in this book. It's titled Separation Equals Elevation because when I looked at these situations with my eyesight, I couldn't see the lesson in it, but I was still in it, so it makes sense. In hindsight, when I look at these situations, I use a term I like to call mindsight, which is the difference between what meets a man's eye and what meets God's eye. See, if you look at it with eyesight, you'll say, damn, these people ain't shit. But if you look at it with mindsight, you understand that this was all God's plan, and he strategically did things a certain way to incentivize me to move a certain way. Without these people getting so close to me and violating me in a way that I felt they did, there would be no separation. And with no separation, there's no room for elevation. Don't confuse anybody in these stories with being bad people. You can just look at them as what God used to make me raise my level. So this is what I trained for. This is what I suffered the pain for. If you had a thing for the sunniest days, this is what you appreciate rain for. I trained in the rain on the same course, but in it got ways I got named for. This what these people got lame for. Bitch, I'm the ticket. They know when I get it, we got it. That was the problem. Big Heart Streets trying to save everybody. Streets G4G. Made for it. The shoot at the pop-up shop was a success. And so was the commercial we did for her brand. I actually think it was dope. And how engaged I got her kids to be during the commercial. Just gave it like a family feel. Not even just the visual. I'm talking about on the set. Sometime in between that, we agreed on swapping services. You know, when I got to shoot a video, if she'll take me and I don't got to give her gas money, then I'll shoot whatever video she need me to shoot. Like I said, she stayed right up the street. And I'm so good with videos, I do them faster than normal. So a video I got to shoot with no concept, I could shoot it and edit it in no time. As the days went on, me and her got closer on the friendship level, where I was letting her in my life a little more, and she was doing the same thing. I'm not really used to letting people in my life, just because of how big I am about the feedback. From my journey, what I understand is if you don't all the way know me, you can confuse what I'm saying, which will alter your feedback, which will make me telling you what I got going on in my life irrelevant. So I usually don't. I usually just rap about it. I feel like the same feeling I get from making my music is probably the same feeling people get when they can vent to their friends. My friend used to joke and say, Streets, you Dr. Phil when you on that pill, boy. Popping addicts like they Tylenol. I pop niggas too. Pop a nigga like a Percocet. Make me pop it, you might pop out on your hoe tonight. The pop it, I'll get slobbed in pills. She pop that pussy, I probably won't pay her attention after I pop a pill. I can't pop no bill, I pop this pill, get to talking like Dr. Phil. Pill got me talking like Dr. Phil. Pill got me talking like Dr. Phil. Streets G4G, Dr. Phil. As time went on, I found out more and more about her. Like she a hustler when she wanna be. And she'll even take a risk that'll make her some money, but the next day, she won't even feel like doing it no more. Like she had a shirt printing business, and she had all the pieces I had, except for her heat press was one of the manual iron gents. Mine was the big 16 by 16. So one day she was at my house, she had seen it, and she had asked me what was I doing with it. I was still in the midst of using it. Well, not actually at the moment, because I had a friend that was trying to start a shirt business, and my shirt equipment was getting in the way of me shooting videos, so I let him hold my Cricut printer and my Epson printer. She asked me for about a week to use it, like take it to her house and use it. I was like, hell no. Even though the time we was spending together was starting to make her feel like one of my little sisters, I couldn't help but think of the last time I let a sibling use any of my equipment. That was my brother. This nigga broke the handle on my press to the point that when I press it down, now I gotta hold it. He told me he was gonna buy me another one, but he bought himself another one. And when he bought himself that new one, he gave me my old one back, but the handle still broke. I never said anything because I don't like beefing with my brother, and we ain't never been able to disagree peacefully. So I just put it in my head, never again. More time passed, I watched her start to struggle with bills and expenses she had from her trying to be an entrepreneur. And the way my heart set up, when I started to see somebody I'm rocking with going through some type of trouble, my mind will automatically kick into how can I help gear. So I came up with a solution, which was since she was already taking me to the studios where I was working with artists with campaigns that had budgets, they had the money to allot to a company to do their merch. They just didn't have one at their fingertips. That's what made me think about her, because she already had the shirt press equipment. Even without my press, she already had a press. It was small, but it'll get the job done. So I figured, if I let her hold my press, I bring her around like she's already coming around, but I just introduce her to my clients as the person who makes my merch. She should be able to boom off that because they're going to go to her through me. And because Streets is such a reliable name, anybody Streets introduces to him is a reliable name. That's for show business. That's a perfect idea, I thought. I brought it to her attention. She got excited. She said she was with it. Next thing I know, I was going to my house, coming downstairs with my press machine, putting it in the back of her car. I started to help her promote her shirt pressing brand, but then I got the feeling I was putting more effort into it than she was, so I stopped doing all the background stuff. I still was telling people she did my merch, but as far as offering to shoot commercials, I wasn't doing that. It had got to the point she had my press machine for like a month, and she had did like 3 orders. That's not cool at all, because 2 of them was from me and my homeboy Zay, and we was at the same video, and we really didn't even pay for those. I really just made it look like we did so I could use it as promotion in the form of a commercial to make it look like she booming. And the one sale she did have, I think that was before I gave her my press, if I'm not mistaken. So in the first 30 days, I didn't see her make any shirts. As time went on, we got cooler, and our relationship got way stronger. She was kind of like the first girl that I was friends with that I never had sexual thoughts about that I didn't grow up with. Our kids started hanging around each other. She had talked me out of a bad relationship, and I had heard her tell me about her baby dad. I had it in my head, if he come out here and try anything with her, I'm going to do something to his ass. Because she really felt like my little sister. On the side, she also be Ubering. And she kept telling me about some white lady that she met named Miss J. She kept telling me how she wanted me to meet her and how we'll click. I heard what she was saying, but I got a way that when I'm talking to people and I'm listening to them, I hear them twice. I hear what they saying and I hear what they not saying. So when she kept telling me about the lady's shortcomings and how we could all assist each other in making some money, all I really heard was streets can help the both of us. Now this will go back to that discernment I was talking about earlier, because with my level of discernment, I break it down like this. If you work for Uber and you're picking up a passenger, it's because she doesn't have a car. And if she don't have money for a car, how the hell does she have money to pay me for a movie to shoot that she's been thinking about? It sounds like a whole bunch of talking to me. Nonetheless, just based off the relationship that me and Cece had built, I agreed to meet her. At this point, Cece was who was braiding my hair to help me cut costs of getting my hair done. So me and her both agreed that me, her, and Miss J can link up the next time she was supposed to braid my hair. To be honest, I've been in this type of situation with these kind of people so many times that I could almost guarantee there was going to be no benefit for me coming out of this situation. But based off the fact that Cece was like my little sister, I was willing to try it again, against my wisdom. And once again, when I say these kind of people, don't confuse that with bad people. The best way I can help you see what I'm saying is to break it down to you like this. You got a church and you got a corporation. A church would usually need donations to get what the church needs, whereas a corporation would pay for services to get what it needs. I used to shoot music videos for $100. To me, that would be what I consider to be church work. So if you knew me back then, you probably got one of those videos. But today, I can't help you because I'm not in that part of my process anymore. Chapter 6, Mookie. I met Mookie in one of the highest crime-infested areas in Atlanta. It was on the west side. I'm not going to say the road. I'm not going to say the place. I'm going to just say it was a hotel, and we had a mutual friend there. Now, this hotel wasn't just any hotel. At this hotel, you can come get prostitutes, you can come get drugs, or you can come get your ass killed. And that's on any night, Saturday through Friday, twice on Sunday. When observing Mook, he kind of reminded me of myself before I figured out exactly who I was. Because before I figured out who I was a lot of things that I'm really not, all in the name of defense. So you wasn't going to play with me, you weren't going to play with nobody I was with, or I was going to get with you, period. But to be honest, the only thing that ever changed my mindset from that was men who could see better than me, that witnessed better than me, that experienced better than me, that cared enough for me to shed light on my blessings and let me know what I was blessed with, what I had talent in, what I should be doing. And since those men, I kind of became those men. For anybody that remind me of me, in any place or any phase I was ever in my life, I was always those men. So with Mookie, I noticed he was a real street nigga. He was trapping, but he had kids. He loves his kids. I didn't know he had so many, but when I found out he had way more than what I thought he did, to see him still show that love was amazing to me. Because I was like, damn, if we'd have had a dad like him, we might have been better off. The only problem I could see with what he was doing was that he was still in the streets. And he was in the streets like full-fledged. So me, and my how can I help mode kicked in. I seen he had a talent for fashion. He was always dressing like real fly, but it was like fly on another level. Like he'll match some clothes with some shoes that you ain't even see coming. Well, maybe that's just me. I'm not really a fashion type of guy anyway. But I know what I know when I see what I see. He even had started to make a clothing brand one time, and he got as far as somebody making a logo for him. When he showed me the logo, I was blown away, because I was like, damn, that's dope. And I mean dope, like not only can I see it on some clothes, but I'll wear it on my clothes. It was dope like that. I asked him why he stopped pursuing it, and he never really gave me a clear answer. But I could tell it was something he wanted to do, and that he had kind of got discouraged and lost ambition for. What I do remember is, when I had learned how to use my Cricut machine, I had got so addicted to the process that I didn't have time to shoot videos. And now that I think about it, I even had my daughter for the summer. I had got so addicted to it that it was one day my daughter tried to play with me, and I told her to stop playing so much. And she got mad. She said, "You don't never want to play with me." That made my heart hurt so bad I had to sit back and think about it like, damn, I'm spending so much time on this Cricut, I almost forgot to spend time with my child. That made me put the Cricut down. I bring that up to say this. When I started learning that process, it became addictive to the point I forgot what else was around me. So I wasn't shooting videos. I mean, I was, but I was late on the turnarounds. I was late going to video shoots, and I was fast to come back because I was trying to hurry up and finish a shirt that I had an idea for. So I kind of looked at it like this. If I let him use my machine, it might trick him into not being in the streets no more, because he's going to be so addictive to the machine, he's not going to have time to be in the streets. In order for him to use the machine, it has to be at his house. And for it to be at his house, and him to be at the machine would mean he's at his house with his kids. Not to mention he has a reputation around here. So it wouldn't take much to blow up a clothing brand or anything he put his name on. On top of the fact, the logo is hard. So all in a nutshell, what I came up with was, I'm going to let him use my machine to start his clothing brand back up. When he get his clientele to a point where he can buy more machines, I'm going to get my machine back. I'm not missing anything because that machine actually gets in the way of me shooting videos because the process to make a shirt takes longer than I like to. And the biggest thing about me and the videos I shoot is my turnaround time. But if I'm using my turnaround time to make shirts, now my turnaround time ain't my turnaround time no more. So the way I seen it working out was perfect because I still get to shoot the videos and make the money that I was going to make from shooting those videos. My homeboy gets the push that he needs to jump back into this clothing brand thing and possibly bloom like I can see him doing. On top of that, he gets out the streets and gets to stay around his kids a little longer. We all win. It started out by me plugging my Cricut up at his spot. I basically ran through the whole process and showed him how to make a shirt by me making a shirt in front of him. But see, at the same time, what I was doing was activating the hunger in his brain because I know once he seen me make that shirt, he was going to want to do one. And I didn't have time to sit there and wait for him to do his. So basically, after I made a shirt, he started his process. He took a little longer than me, so I ended up telling him, yo, I'm about to leave. Matter of fact, just go ahead and keep the Cricut for the night and hit me if you need me. I'll tell you how to do everything. He said, all right, bet. Before you know it, he was pushing out shirts. They weren't that good at first, but I could tell from every shirt that he was showing me, they were getting better and better. And that let me know that he was constantly doing it. I had ordered an Epson printer from Amazon, and it was a few times that he had to use it. But see, the problem with that was he stayed way on the other side of town, and when he'll call me, if I'm not home, he can't pull up to use it. So one of the last times he came to use it, I just said, bro, you want to just take the printer with you, and I just come get it when I need it? He said, yeah, that's what we did. And to be honest, I don't like those type of things of mine being out of my possession. But one thing about me, I'm loyal to the bone, to the gristle. So when it's for my dogs, when it's for my friends, I pride myself off the fact that they know when they call me, I'm coming. That's the process. Those are the results. You call Streets, he coming. That's a lot. At the same time, when I need somebody, I'm not used to having people to call. As a matter of fact, if I be all the way honest with myself, I never had a friend like me. Ever. Like not one time in my life other than me. Where the lines that get real foggy at is when I'm down bad, I'm who gotta go for me. But with it being that way for so long, it's very seldom I get to learn who goes for me. But what God to do is he'll always put me in a place where I can't go for myself. And I gotta depend on the people that can always depend on me. And I also believe that he do it in situations where me not having your help is so detrimental to my future or my progress. Because he knows the way my heart is structured is that when I find out that I'm not to you what you are to me, your character diminishes in my mind. And then from there, whatever I see I am to you is exactly what you're going to be to me, times 10. You can't tell me how to treat you, you tripping. I'm Action Jackson, when they talk I listen. And I don't mean no bitches or bitch ass niggas. I'm talking about your actions. When they talk I listen. You under surveillance whenever we kick it. To learn who I am to you, I pay attention. Talking get cheap and make you look suspicious. If you real, I know when you make your decision. Streets G4G, your actions. Chapter 7, Miss J. I was at Cece's house editing a video that I had just shot. She got up and told me she was about to go get Miss J. I said, all right. She left out the door, and about 20 minutes later, she came right back. She walked in the house with some white lady. While observing the white lady, I noticed she was kind of thick. Damn. All right. Anywho, she sat down. I introduced myself to her, and it felt like an interview started right then and there. She had started telling me about how she seen my video on my Instagram page. Initially, she was up there because I had shot one of Cece's videos, and I posted it on my video page. Being I'm an artist and I shoot my own videos, I keep my video page and my artist page separate. So when I do shoot a video for myself, I post it on my page and on my video page, like I'm the video company that shot my music video. But she was telling me about a song I had up there called Know Your Worth. From my experience, when girls like that song, they usually got beat up in a relationship before. And I made that song from being in a domestic violent relationship. He did you bad, you jump back fast, I see. Now them ballers with them bags won't let you pass them. Verbally and mentally, he did you bad. Had them scars at work don't work, they know you getting your ass beat. Even though your folks say go, you stayed, you love them. I see you backward, bro, they don't let you go, they don't understand that. When daddy dip, don't set no standards that do damage, I agree. So just know you just a holder, them folks, but not to me. I just hope you know you worth it, shorty, now resurface, shorty. Remember them days you was hurting, shorty. God had purpose, shorty. I built person with my verses, shorty. Know your worth, you learn who worth it, shorty. Hurt resurface, shorty. Streets G4G, know your worth. In the first couple of minutes of talking to Miss J, I learned, damn, she a misfit like me. But at the same time, I also learned she mouthy as hell. She was telling me about a couple artists that she done had sexual relations with. I couldn't help but think, but damn, what if that was me? You'll tell my business like that? That's what I was talking about in the last chapter about if you listen, people will talk twice. Because she was telling me to tell me. But what I heard was she mouthy as shit. Now, when it comes to me, I can honestly say that I really feel like this. Some people will tell me things because they can sense I'm the person that you could tell. But some people will tell me things because that's just what they do. Now, if you can get in private and have relations with somebody and get from around them and bring that business to a table with somebody you don't even know yet, it kind of shows me your loyalty is circumstantial. Then on top of that, she was talking about celebrities. When she started talking about one of them that I was really familiar with, I couldn't help but think about the times back in the day when I was on my bullshit. And what came to mind was, either she's so green or she's so fucking mouthy. I can make her set him up without her even knowing it. I could find out wherever they at, because she talks so much. I come in there and smack her with a pistol, put it on him, to get whatever I need from him. Just like that. That's why they say keep bitches out your business. Not that she meant it, but what you don't know can hurt you sometimes. And she don't know who she talking to. She don't even know to check to see who she talking to before she's telling me everything she's telling me about this artist. Damn. Mental note. Nigga, I'm shell. I do the crime, go to jail. Before I comply, rebel. I been abused, it get loud, I get scared. Lower your voice when you talk to me, player. Ain't got no cool for no thought and despair. She run her mouth, get that bitch out of here. She won't get screwed if it's I got the pill. And you with your homies, you can't pull up here. Nigga, I'm shell. Nigga, I'm shell. What you think I ask niggas who you with for, player? Finna lightweight snap, they be hitting my jack, asking me where I'm at. Why you need to know, player? Nigga, I'm shell. Nigga, I'm shell. Keep it to yourself when you link with me, player. Cause we done slid a lot, getting a drop from the thought. You just parked at your spot, cause she talk a whole lot, player. Streets G4G, Shell. Before I knew it, we was deep in a conversation I ain't even mean to have with her. I had just recently made a song with Cece where I was referring to an incident where I had robbed a couple people in North Carolina. And on the last person I tried to rob, he had beat me up and took my gun and allowed me to run. I remember when she was asking me about it, I started to get a little nervous, to the point I had to stop and figure out why. And then when I thought about it, it came to mind. I'm not used to talking to white people about things like this unless I'm about to be arrested. I thought to myself, why was it so different? Then when I really thought about it, I came to the conclusion it felt like an off-air interview. And I felt comfortable. That was weird to me. And then it stuck out to me like, damn, maybe she should be doing interviews. Because the way her curiosity comes across is innocent. And then she's actually interested. And I think that makes her line of questioning sound less strategic and more organic. Like she could really pull info out of an artist if she was really interested. And to have that on camera would be better than a Vlad interview. I could use a few relationships that I got in the Atlanta area with artists that just happen to really be my homeboys and my homegirls to make that platform pop. From there, she'll be in demand to do interviews to the point they'll start paying her to do interviews. then she won't need me to do anything for free, or in exchange for any other type of service, she'll be able to pay for it. See, there I go again. And how can I help gear? As time went on, I eventually brought her across her table, and she said she was with it. I think she had went to school for being a journalist or something like that. I really can't remember that part, but that sounds familiar. So when I brought her the idea, she was really excited about it. Now from the gate, I already understood that in order for this to work, I got to do like 85% of the work. Now I was cool with that because in exchange for me doing the work, it could become a platform that I could use to my advantage when or if I deem necessary. Especially with me having artists and wanting to grow my YouTube page, this could be something very beneficial for the both of us. Now, one thing I did respect about Miss J was she was willing to help any way possible. She even suggested one time that she run my Instagram page to post at times I couldn't, and we even came up with the idea for her to play my manager. So when people call me to book videos, them hearing a white woman answer the phone, I just create the aura that this is a professional situation going on. And when it sounds professional, they're willing to pay a professional price, like with no argument. I thought about that real hard, and I was with it, but there was only one problem. Miss J was white. She had kids by a black man. The black man wasn't around. She couldn't control those kids. So I never even recall a time when I could talk to her on the phone without hearing her negotiate with them badass kids. That kind of put us in an uncomfortable place just because she was like real sensitive. So I knew for a fact that if I said what came to mind when I see them disrespect her, she was going to feel some type of way, and I never liked to make her feel uneasy. But if I didn't say what I needed to say to those kids, then I would feel uncomfortable. Now, Miss J was a white woman, and where I come from, when a white woman has black kids, we expect for them to talk back. Really, when a white woman has kids, period, we expect for them to talk back. But my mom was black, so I didn't grow up in a household where that was tolerable, to say the least. So I had no patience for it. I remember even feeling like she used to try to bring me closer to her son by telling me things like, when we ride past your house, my son said, that's Street's house. I guess that was her way of trying to bring me closer to her son. But honestly, I always wanted to whoop his ass. So it was hard for me to be attached to him because I wanted to beat him so bad. One thing I did admire about Miss J, though, that was different than Cece, was Miss J always brought ideas to the table. Whether they were good or bad, they were always an assistance to the team. I mean, Cece brought ideas through, but when Cece brought ideas through, they were only ideas she was willing to follow through on if it was something that pertained to her benefit. It was almost like I couldn't even complain to her about things that happened in my day. Like if I complained about the way somebody acted while I was recording their song, her response would be, see, you should have recorded my song. Or if I came to her to talk about the way somebody acted during a video shoot, her response would always be, see, you should have just shot my video. I'm not really sure if that's just how her mind worked or if she thought I couldn't see it, but I've been peeped it. And to be honest, I didn't even really realize it until I got around Miss J, because those were the only two females I would talk to that was outside of business, that I would even speak on my issues in a day about. I think I had got so used to CC being CC when I tell her about the confrontations in my day that it just became the normal response. But then when Miss J came around, when I tell her about the confrontations in my day, her response would be different. That started to put light on what CC was doing and the way her mind worked. I kind of started falling back from her. The straw that broke the camel back was probably when she was supposed to be doing my hair, and I watched her dodge me for like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe even 4. And the time that she had got free to do it, she had went and got her nails done. It kind of threw me for a loop because I was like, damn, you knew you were supposed to do my hair. I didn't say that to her, but, thinking it in my mind. So I ended up walking to this shop to get my hair done. I had to pay $100 to get it done. Well, $115 because I had to get a treatment done to it because they said I had my braids in so long that my hair started falling out. And they said it wasn't good for me to keep my hair in that long. It was to the point the lady had even stopped and pulled me to the side and asked me did I have any health issues. I was shocked, but I told her no, and I asked her why she asked me that. She let me know that the rate that my hair was coming out, it looked like I may have had a health issue. She asked me how long did I have it in, and I told her almost 2 months. I really only had it in for 2 months because when it got to my 3rd week mark, I had hit Cece up to do my hair again. She ended up telling me that she would, but it had to be sometime this week. Sometime this week turned into me asking her once a week for the next 4 or 5 weeks. Then on the last week, if I recall correctly, she had went and got her nails done. That kind of threw me for a loop because she had already told me a couple weeks prior to this that when she gets her nails done, she can't do hair because she can't grip it, which led me to believe maybe she got her nails done so I wouldn't ask her to do my hair. Or maybe she got her nails done because she really had no intentions of doing my hair. Either way, when it was time for Cece to come through on her side of things, I noticed that she never put the same effort in returning her favor that she did when she asked for it. That quality of hers started to shine real bright to me. Miss J, on the other hand, she reminded me of a time period I was on a run from the police. It was around the time when my sister had died. I had an incident at a gas station where a dude had pulled up on my brother, and he didn't see me with my brother. So when I seen him pull up on my brother, I hopped out the car and knocked him out. I guess before he woke up or before he got off the ground, the owner of the gas station called the police, and he lied to the police and told them that me and my brother jumped him. One thing about me and my city, the police are not happy or satisfied with anything I do that's towards the benefit of my business. And they try to lock me up for things that are so old that people don't even remember, or incidents that happened that the people that it happened to ain't even mad about no more. So I went on a run and I went hiding out in Norfolk at a college called ODU. While on that campus, to be honest, I really was on that campus like I was a student. I had an ID card and everything, so I was eating in the caf, partying with students, throwing parties. I had a couple female friends up there, and I had a room with a roommate named Third Eye Ra in the building that was named the District at one time. Now, I know y'all probably thinking, how did Streets have a room with a roommate at Old Dominion University? Well, technically, it was Third Eye Ra's room, but I had came up there for a radio interview one time on their radio station where Third Eye Ra interviewed me. We had got so cool that I ended up staying from January to April. I caught that charge in February, but I was already staying up there, so I just ended up staying longer after that. A few of Third Eye Ra's friends and company became my friends, and only me, Third Eye Ra, and a female named Jasmine knew that I was on the run. The rest of his friends all just thought I was a student. In the news, they gonna say Streets, and the bird they might say Marlon. I probably got your freak at Neek House fucking in Carver Garden, and I be OD moving stupid, usually about some music. And I'm at ODU so much, some folks think I'm a student. Me and Third Eye throwing kickbacks, got the district booming, got my name so stupid moving. Them folks think I know what I'm doing. God, I see what you doing. Streets G4G, Road Runner. While at ODU, Third Eye Ra and Jasmine seen me go through a lot. They seen me when my sister died. 5 days later, my birthday came. I remember they surprised me with a cake and some Hennessy. It brought so much joy to me at a time that was so rough and crazy in my life, I almost cried. Like 2 weeks after that, my uncle got killed. They was with me through all of that. What I noticed was my music was changing around that time period, and I felt like it was changing because my environment changed. I wasn't around people I had to watch. When somebody knocked on the door, I didn't have to worry about if they was coming in to kill everybody or to shoot at anybody in there, or if they were even the police coming to arrest me. That let me know that my environment changed my mind state. My mind state started changing my music. That's when I started making music that was true to my soul, not true to what the streets made me believe I had to be to survive, but true to Marlon. That's what songs like Dedication, Yep, and things of that nature came. Being around Miss J and talking to her, she kind of brought that feeling back where I could always just be me. I didn't have to defend myself. I didn't have to watch nobody. I could just be who God put me here to be. Anything outside of that was always me on defense. And I was so used to being on defense that my normal was defense. That when I got into these type of environments where I can relax, it felt so peaceful. I ain't want to get back on defense. I remember she kept telling me about this Dodge Charger she had access to. And she was telling me because she wanted to rent it for me and have me pull up to my video shoots with it. She was telling me how it would up the price that I'm able to charge customers for videos. I didn't really see that, just because my price is based off what I can do, not my appearance. She brought it to my attention so many times, I finally cracked on it. It was like, all right, let's do it. So from there, the situation we had set up was she'll rent the Dodge Charger from some guy that she met off Toro, and I'll get it from her. Meaning, when I need the car, I'll get her the money, she'll go take it to the dude, he'll rent it to her, and we can go on about our business. Now I'm riding around in a Dodge Charger. Sometime after that, she had introduced me to some girl that was watching her kids. She was thick as hell, but she was young too. She used to work at some nurse place on the other side of Atlanta. So when she used to go to work and had to get off, sometimes Miss J would text me and ask me could I go pick her up. Kind of pissed me off because when I got the car, I got things to do. I don't have time to rent the car to go pick up people from work. The only thing I could put into perspective when I was thinking about that was, damn, she stayed trying to help somebody. Then when I thought a little more into it, I'm like, wow, the dude is helping her by letting her rent the car off Toro. She's using that to help me, and she's using me to help the girl. It sounded a little crazy to me, but I kind of understood her intentions. Not to mention, this was all her idea, so I kind of just rolled with it. I couldn't help but think in a time or two, like, damn, if I was that dude and I messed with her enough to let her use my car, if I found out she was letting other people use my car, from me letting her use my car, it'll be an issue. That'll bring me back to the statement I made in the last chapter. You know, the same saying we grew up on, who's loyal to everybody gotta be disloyal to somebody. That rung so loud in my head, I should have known that later I was soon to figure out why. Chapter 8, Last Text. Through my Instagram, I got booked by a company called KOB, which stood for NACA Beauty. I got booked to be the cameraman on a 6-day tour where we go to different places, and in a classroom setting, they teach girls how to do microblading and shading. It was a hell of a learning experience for me because I got to see girls who came from the same type of places I come from run business like real professionals and do it in places like Jackson, Mississippi, Jacksonville, Florida, Tampa, Florida, Charlotte, North Carolina, Dallas, Texas, and the last tour was in Atlanta, Georgia. I was already thinking about running some type of videography class, and I had kind of spoke on it to God a couple of times. So I feel like me even being beside them or around them to even see what was going on or the inside of running a class was a blessing in itself. I was the cameraman, but I was the only guy on the road with them. And from us traveling so much, they kind of became like my sisters. So they kind of took my job from just the cameraman to the cameraman / security / bag carrier / banner hanger. Basically like whatever they needed me to do. Every state we went to, we stayed there for about 3 days. We usually get there Friday night, set up Friday night, set up a little bit Saturday morning. Saturday throughout the day, they run their first class. Sunday, they run the second class. Usually by like sometime Monday morning, late Sunday night, we back in Atlanta. The last class that was held in Atlanta, Georgia. Everybody was excited about that because it was the same 2 days that we had to do for every class, but it was right up the street as opposed to us having to be on the road for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours. So it was cool. Well, for me, it was kind of bittersweet because I kind of got used to being around them every other week. Mind you, on the 6-day tour, every other week, we were around each other for like a 3-month basis. So to now have the last class coming up, I don't know when the next time I'm going to see my homegirls. So it was cool because it was over. It was a mission completed, but it was a little downer because of my people. And in Atlanta, everybody moving, everybody chasing the bag. So I might see them, I might not see them. But one thing for sure, I ain't gonna see them like we was seeing each other on that tour. So the day come for the class. Matter of fact, one of my homeboys, they even came out here with his family from Virginia. We was so relaxed at this class, I even stepped out to talk to him for a little bit in the parking lot. I even hit the blunt a couple times with him. Him and his family left to go check in their room. I went back into class. Saturday class was a success. Sunday's class was a success. After that last class on Sunday, unlike other times, we sat around and came up with an idea for a commercial to promote their next set of classes. And to be honest, it was probably one of the hardest commercials we came up with because we came up with a script for them to say, and I had them saying their lines so many times that their lines were coming out smooth. They didn't look like they were acting, and the angles was crazy. I couldn't wait to get back and edit it. We left from the hotel, and we went to a restaurant to get something to eat. The first restaurant we went to, when we got out the car, we was parked in a parking garage. One thing about Atlanta, I don't trust Atlanta, and I don't play in Atlanta. I know the game, I know the con, and I know every way they can jug you. Therefore, when it comes to leaving my belongings in a car unattended, I ain't with it. So when we got to the first spot to go in and eat, when we was leaving the car, I remember having this bad feeling about leaving my bags in the car. See, because in the car I had my laptop, I had my hard drive with other clients' work on it, all the video footage from all the tours we went on. I even had footage of me and my daughter because I was ready to start her a YouTube page. I think she probably thought I forgot about it, but truth be told, I was shooting every time we got around each other and stacking up the footage so I could surprise her with it. I also had every single session to every single song I ever recorded since I had my studio. I put everything on that hard drive. I had my camera in my camera bag. I had like 8 batteries to a portable light I had, and I had like 3 or 4 batteries for my camera. When we went inside the first restaurant, something happened to where we couldn't come in. I couldn't remember what it was. I remember when we couldn't come in, I felt relieved to go back to the parking lot because we had to go back to the car. And it was just a feeling I had in my body. And the feeling I had in my body made me so uneasy about leaving that stuff in the car. So to get back in and see nothing was out of place, nothing was taken, felt like a breath of fresh air. We got in the car, we went to the next spot. The next spot we went to was an open parking lot. I can't even remember the name of the restaurant. And mind you, we were there to celebrate. It felt like I had let my guard down. When we was getting out the car to go in a restaurant, I remember telling one of my homegirls, "Hey, I don't feel comfortable leaving this car with my stuff in it." Her reply, "We good. I park right here all the time." Just because she said that, for some dumbass reason, I said, okay. We went in a restaurant, we ate, we celebrated a little bit. We said a prayer, we came back to the car. On our way back to the car, I seen a dude that was kind of dressed like a junkie running over to us. When he was running over to us, I could feel the anxiety building in my body. I didn't know what was going on, but I knew something was going on. I heard him say something like, "Hey, I just ran them off. They was at y'all car." My first instinct was to grab him and beat the shit out of him until he told me wherever who was. I had to calm myself down and catch myself because at the end of the day, I'm not from around here. I don't really know this area that I'm in specifically. And I could start beating his ass and whoever he may be working with could be in a cut with a pistol and shoot all of us. So I hurried up and ran past him, only to get to the car and see the window was bust. The window to my door. My body felt weak. All I could hear is my baby mama saying, "You ain't shit. We don't need you." I started thinking about it. I was supposed to move out of my house on June 1st. This was May 22nd. How I'm gonna pay my rent? I owe people footage they already paid me for. How I'm gonna pay them back? I got videos set up for the rest of this week that would have ended up in me being paid $1,600 in the next 7 days. How I'm gonna get that? A lot of stuff started going through my mind so fast as I looked at that window laying on the ground. I had to walk away from the car because I had to calm myself down. And I know when I get mad, it's too many voices in my head. I can't tell who's telling the truth. I can't tell who's being logical. The ones that I hear the loudest are always the ones I listen to, but they're always the ones that get me in the most trouble. And they're always the ones that made me do things that felt good while I was mad. And when I come down from being mad, I realized how fucking stupid it was. I think the next thing that popped in my mind was the Virginia side of my body. But the Virginia side of me was saying, grab these hoes, beat they face in, they set me up. They set me up. They set me up. I really had to go over there and talk to God. I know I stayed over there for about a good 10, 15 minutes by myself. I can hear them crying in the distance. I just kept hearing my baby mama say, "You not shit. She don't need you." My daughter's birthday was coming up. This was going to be the first birthday I really made enough money to spend on my daughter like I wanted to, and to get so close and have that taken away from me. Fuck. That's all I kept thinking to myself. Chapter 9, Miss J Car. I ended up staying with one of the last checks that night. Even though in my mind, that was a bad idea, because I was still having thoughts about doing things to them, thinking they may have set me up. I may have forgot to mention in the last chapter too, when my stuff got stolen, it wasn't the only things that got stolen out the car. One of them lost a laptop, and a couple of other pieces I can't really remember, but I know it was of importance. And to be honest, I really only tell y'all that for everybody that's from the side of Virginia that I'm from, because I know y'all gonna think the same thing I was thinking. They set me up. After putting logical thought into it, I came to the conclusion we all lost. So nah, they ain't set me up. Calm down, 757. I love y'all too. The next day I woke up, I had to go meet my homeboy at a hotel to go pick up my studio equipment. See, because that Saturday, before the Sunday when my stuff was stolen, I had took my studio equipment to his hotel. So we was gonna end up doing a whole project and shooting as many videos as we could while he was down here, just to have something to drop that'd have been crazy. I ended up not coming back Sunday night because my stuff got stolen. So Monday when I woke up, I had to go meet his family at the hotel and get my studio equipment before they got on the road. I had briefly told him what had happened, but that was only because I was supposed to come back to his hotel Sunday night, and I never came. I think he thought I was joking at first, but then when he seen I was serious, I was still kind of being brief. So as soon as he seen me, he asked me did I know who did it. I told him nah. Then he asked me did I think they set me up. I told him nah. He told me if they did, he'll handle it before they get back on the road. I remember thinking to myself like, shit, if they did it, I would have handled it before I came over here. But I just told him I know. We went in there and gathered up my stuff. I ordered an Uber, went downstairs to catch it, and was on my way home. While riding in the Uber, I remember thinking to myself like, damn, I ain't robbed nobody. I ain't did nothing bad to nobody. So why would God put me through this? I learned early from my phase of hitting licks. I only lost stuff when I took stuff. Like if I took something, I always lost it. Some way, somehow. If I took a bunch of money, I always lost that money. Since I stopped manipulating people and taking shit, I ain't had nothing took from me. So why now? And then my camera, I make money with my camera. I pay rent with my camera. I take care of my child with my camera. That is my business. That camera and the drone. Oh shit, I still got the drone. I got so excited I couldn't wait to get home to see if it still worked. I hadn't used it in a while, and the last time I had used it, I remember when I put it in the air, it had like a green screen on it, but it still went in the air. I never really checked into the matter because I had my regular camera. I just put it in my closet and never touched it again. As soon as I got back, I ran straight to my closet. I took everything out the bag, put everything on the charger, and I literally sat and waited for it to charge. When I seen it was charged, I took it outside, hooked everything up like I was supposed to, but when I cut it on, it was in tutorial mode. I think because I ain't have it on in so long. So I literally had to touch everything the tutorial was telling me to touch in order to get through the process. When it got to the takeoff part, I hit takeoff, it went in the air. I was elated. As I watched my drone fly around like nothing was ever wrong with it, I remember being self-centered enough to say, thank you, God. And what I mean by being self-centered enough to say it was I ain't thank God when my stuff got stolen. I thanked him when he gave me all my stuff, though. I ain't thank God when I was moving around booming, but I thanked him when that drone went in the air. Ungrateful. You see that? Me too. Anyway, while I'm watching it in the air, I heard the controller make a noise. I looked down on my phone because it played as a monitor to the drone on the DJI Mavic Air 2. It said something about a calibration. When I looked closer, it said IMU calibration. I thought to myself, what is that? Then I seen the screen on the monitor start spinning. When I looked up, my drone was spinning in circles. I watched it spin, flip around, and fall right out the sky. As I'm watching it fall, it felt like my heart was falling right with it. It smacked the ground. Pow! I was crushed. I went over there to pick up my drone. 2 propellers was messed up, and one of them was broken. I remember I just picked it up and walked in the house. When I got upstairs in my room, I remember getting a notification from Facebook. Somebody was in my inbox. When I looked at the name, I realized it was the name of a friend I had in the 3rd grade. He had moved away in the 3rd grade, so I hadn't even seen him since the 3rd grade. And the funny thing about it was this was in Virginia. I remember when I had got released from the penitentiary in 2011, I had got word that he was locked up. I had found the penitentiary he was locked up in, and I had wrote him a letter. This was maybe like 2012, 2013. Here it is 2022. He was hitting me on Facebook. I wasn't even in the mood to talk, but something told me to respond. He had sent me his number and told me to call him. When I called him, we had caught up a little bit. But to be honest, I wasn't really even in the mood to be talking because of the situations I had going on. It was a nice little break from my reality. But while taking that break, every so often my reality came back into my mind. Not to mention I was thinking he was still in Virginia. I really don't like answering the phone for people in Virginia because I'm always dealing with things that require my fullest attention in Georgia. I really don't have time to reminisce. While talking to him, I find out he's in the music field like I am. He was rapping and started mixing music. I was rapping and started shooting videos. He told me he had a little experience with shooting videos and that he even had a camera set up. I asked him what kind of camera he had. He had the same camera I had. He also told me he had a drone. I asked him what kind of drone. He had the same drone I just crashed. What I have learned is when I get feelings or some type of movement in my instincts, to just follow it. I don't know what God doing, but I know he doing something. He ended up asking me where was I located now, and I told him Atlanta. He said, damn, I'm in Atlanta too. We spoke on catching up. I was so excited to see what this was going to turn into that when we set a date to link up, I ended up changing my mind and said, matter of fact, where you at? I'm pushing up right now. He sent me his address. I checked to see how much the Uber was, and I was about to be on my way. Even though the Uber was going to run me about $50 or $60, I wasn't even tripping. I wanted to see what God had for me. So after we hung up, I went and took a shower, changed my clothes, and got ready to leave. And then it hit me. Call Miss J. She got the car. That's exactly what I did. And in a matter of about 30, 45 minutes, Miss J pulled up on me. I was on my way. I was riding up Lithonia and Industrial Road when I started getting on the expressway. As soon as I started making my way onto the interstate, I felt the car swerve. It scared me a little bit because I've been in a few accidents. And the feeling of tires swerving or the car jerking kind of take me back to a scary place. That's why I really don't drive that fast. It reminded me of a time that I had got the car late at night to go shoot somebody's studio session. I remember I got in the car, I went straight to the studio session. I recorded the studio session. I got back in the car, came back to my house, and in the morning I woke up and took the car back. And that time in particular, I was like real tired, so I didn't feel like hearing no music or nothing. Usually I ride with the music turned up, but that time I was riding with the music down. I didn't feel like being on the road, I just needed the money. So I rode with the music down there and back. But when I got the car back, a couple days later, Miss J had hit me and asked me about a crack that was in the window. And I remember thinking, a crack? How would a crack be in the window? She said, yeah, maybe like from a rock hitting the window. And you know when you drive with the music up loud, you probably didn't hear it. It gave me a bad feeling because I'm like, did she take elements of seeing me drive and put that together to come up with it to make me believe that I put that crack in the window? Because I didn't. But if I did, I would have told her from the gate. Then I started thinking about her badass kids. And I couldn't help but think, what if they did it? But it felt kind of weird because it felt like she played off the fact that she knew I ride with the music turned up. It felt like she was trying to make it seem like I did it. I told her, nah, I ain't put no crack in the window and I ain't had the music turned up. I kind of ignored her for the rest of the conversation just because it had gave me a bad feeling. I ignored it, of course. That's how I was even back to this position right here while I was driving on the car, getting on the expressway and the tires swerved a little bit. So I texted her and I asked her, hey, was the tires driving funny when you had the car? She said no. I put my phone back, continued on the mission. I ended up getting to the exit over there by Howard Mill, and I remember I seen a car started to come in my lane a little bit. When it came in my lane, I remember getting over a little bit, and when it kept coming in my lane, I slowed down a little bit. When I slowed down, the car hydroplaned. When the car hydroplaned, it shot me over like 3 lanes. I remember the whole time I was going across those 3 lanes, I was thinking, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Somebody hit the back of the car, spit me around on 75. Now I'm hitting donuts on 75, going in a pure circle. I can't really see, but what I could see was that the traffic had stopped, and I assumed they just stopped and watched me spin. I spin some more, I smacked the wall. Pow! What the fuck? I ended up turning the car around and pulling over to the side. The vehicle that hit the back of my car was driven by a white man. He parked behind my car on the side, got out and asked me was I alright. I told him yeah, but I really wasn't. Mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, I was broke. I went to the side and I called Miss J and let her know what had happened. She then told me, you know you gotta pay for the car, right? I said, yeah, I know that. So it had came time for me and the man who was in the collision to exchange info. I let him take a picture of my ID and he asked me for my insurance. I let him know that I was renting the car from somebody who rented the car, so I wasn't sure who the insurance was through. I had gave him Miss J number and I had let her know that I did. She said, okay. I ended up having to call my homeboy and tell him I wasn't gonna be able to make it. I ain't know what to do with myself. I ended up just going home and getting in the bed and kind of having my own pity party until I fell asleep. I woke up the next day to a missed phone call from the guy that I was in a collision with. I only missed the call because I was asleep. But I also woke up to a text from Miss J telling me that the guy had called her. Before I could even respond to the text, she called me. I remember the tone in her voice was way different than what I was used to. Not only did I peep it, but it almost woke up the aggressive side of me. I remember she said, the guy that you got in an accident with called me. I said, oh, okay. She asked, what he calling me for? I said, I think he calling you about the insurance because I ain't know what to tell him. She said, so what is he calling me for? I paused for a little bit, and I was still kind of lost in her question. I said, what do you mean what he's calling you for? She said, I don't understand. If you got in a car accident, why is he calling me? I said, did you answer the phone for him? She said, no. I said, well, that's probably why you don't know why he called for you. Then she told me I was going to have to pay for both of the cars because she didn't want to let the guy know that she rented the car from because it was going to raise his insurance. Hold up. So now you mean to tell me this same car that she's been pushing on me to drive, I technically been driving without insurance. And I've been driving without insurance without even knowing it didn't have insurance. I mean, it got insurance, but if while I got the car, the insurance is null and void. But this is a car she's been pushing on me to drive. So if that was the case, why didn't she tell me this from the gate? Now it sounded like larceny to me. Not to mention, I still got to move out of my crib by June 1st. I still got to replace my camera that was just stolen. Now I got to pay for 2 cars out of pocket that had insurance on it because she don't want the guy to know that I was driving. Let's go back to what I was saying in that chapter about her. When you're loyal to everybody, you got to be disloyal to somebody. I ended up going to meet my homeboy the very next day. And while over there, I had used his camera to shoot him a commercial. I wasn't getting paid for the commercial in the sense of money because it wasn't even a commercial that he had needed. I just know I needed content to keep my page going. So therefore, anybody who was looking to book me for a shoot would see that I was still consistently working. When I get in work mode, I black out and stay in work mode. So I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I put it off in the corner and I get to work. That's exactly what I did while doing this commercial. When I went over to check my phone, after about an hour or two of shooting, I noticed I had a few missed calls and a couple text messages from Miss J. Judging by these text messages and how many times she called me, she's starting to get real comfortable with trying to get aggressive with me. I don't play that shit. And one of the first text messages I seen, it said, look, I know you want this to go away, but it's not going to do that. That pissed me off right there. First of all, I don't run from nothing. Somebody with a runner's attitude would think something like that. But don't play with me right now, because this ain't the time nor the place. I have manners. I'm not scared of you, and I'm not scared to defend myself. So I basically told her, hey, if you're not going to help me come up with the solution to paying for all the shit I got to pay for, shut the fuck up until I do it. I don't know who you think you're talking to, but I promise you I ain't him. Stop playing with me, dog. That was my text message. Then the next few days, I just slept on what she was saying as far as me paying for both of the cars because she didn't want him to know that I was driving. So basically, I was driving a car with no insurance. A car that she brought to my attention and never told me that while driving that I don't have insurance. I'd have never drove that car. The more and more I thought about it, the more enraged I became. And then on top of the fact, the way she was texting me to give her a payment for them to start the body job while knowing I got to be moving out of my crib in a couple of days. On top of knowing I just lost my camera, so the money that I had set up for this move is gone. On top of just finding out that one of my clients is suing me because her work was on that hard drive that I had lost. I started to get pissed off. I know when I get mad like this, I got to get to my quiet place, and I got to think. What I came up with was, fuck that car, fuck who mad about it. Chapter 10, Mook, my machine. I had got booked to shoot a studio session a couple days before my camera had got stolen. And while at that studio session, I had got word Mook had got locked up. He got locked up for what? I asked the person that told me. They let me know he had got locked up because he got pulled over and his car got searched. They found some things in it. Damn. I remember thinking, I gotta go check on that nigga's son. Like I said about him in the chapter before, he had a lot of sons, but it was one particular that I was real familiar with. He was a big reason behind why I had gave Mook the machine anyway, just because he was familiar with using it. I remember I had an incident where I had to go back to Virginia for the death of what I considered to be my child, my son, and I had to stop at Mook's house before I got on the road. I remember thinking to myself like, damn, my son gone, while looking at Mook's son work on the machine. I watched them interact with each other for a little bit, and it was bittersweet because it made me think about my son, but then it made me happy that Mook still had his. I had got what I came for, and then I had got on the road. Just think about how he may feel sitting in that cell put an uneasy vibe over me. I remember that feeling. I never really been in jail since I had my child. I mean, I had one time, and that one time I went, I felt like a real piece of shit just because I left my baby out there. Even though it was only for like 10 days, I still remember thinking like, damn, she wanted to call me right now. She can't even call me because I'm in here. It was a big reality check. I don't think I've been back to jail since then. I ended up not being able to get around to talking to his son. I mean, well, like, not in person. I had hit him on Instagram and asked him, was he all right? He told me, yeah. I told him, hit me if you need me. He told me, okay. A couple of days later, the incident with my camera happened. Being that I had let them use the machine, I wasn't even thinking about that being an option towards me jumping back. But desperate times call for desperate measures. And I cannot go back to jail trying to get no money. I had a drone, and I was going to use that to get booked with any videographer that needed any aerial shots for any project he had working on. That was guaranteed money because people don't have drones. And even the people that have drones, I never really seen too many that I got access to or that I've seen that could fly it like I can fly it. But my drone broke. Daughter birthday next month. My rent due, and I'm supposed to move out. Client suing me. It's a lot of shit going on. I don't know what to do. Still in panic mode, I think. My machine. Even with my back against the wall, I can't help but to think about my people. I remember thinking like, damn, if I use that machine, how is son gonna get some money? So I came up with a plan like, all right, I'm gonna go get that machine. I'm gonna use it for about 30 days, maybe 60. Stack my bread up, and I'm gonna go get me another camera. Facts. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. I thought I had reached out to his son through Instagram and asked him where the machine was. He said he won't show, but his dad was gonna call later on that day. I said, all right, bet. While I was waiting for them to call me back, I started trying to come up with other ideas and other ways to get some money. I need my camera, dog. When it came time for my phone call, I ain't get one. I ended up hitting his son and asked him, yo, your dad called yet? He said, not yet, he about to. I said, all right, bet. The time came again, his son had hit me back. He said, my dad said that machine ain't at the house. I responded with, all right, what he said is that? His son replied, he ain't say yet. I remember thinking like, damn, Mook, hurry up. You know what I got going on, pretty sure he done told you. You gotta hurry up and let me know where it's at if I can go get it. His son ended up telling me he gonna call again tomorrow though. I said, all right, bet, call me. A little perturbed, but I still had my patience because I knew what he was going through. I get that. A lot of times I be looking for me in people, and sometimes I expect me from people because I show who I am first. When it comes to my people calling, I drop everything and come. Every time. More times than not, I would say I look stupid, but I learned so much from doing that for people who want for me that I'd say I went through a lot of necessary training behind that. I guess you could add this to one of the times. The next day I hit his son and asked him, did he call back yet? He said, nah. I remember thinking like, damn, what he doing? Then I thought to myself, he might need some money. So I hit his son back and I said, yo, as soon as I get the machine, the first $100 I make, I'm going to just throw it to y'all. You just put it on his books so he be straight for a little bit. He said, all right. Still waiting for a phone call to no avail. I hit him later on that day and asked him, did he call yet? He said, nah. Now something started to feel off. Thinking to myself like, yo, he know what I got going on. And he know if the shoe was on the other foot, I'd have been came through. Now something smelling fishy. I remember thinking to myself, like, I know he ain't trying to buck on me. In Virginia, when we say buck, that means Debo. Debo means take advantage of, rob. Nah, he ain't trying to buck. I'm starting to realize that when I run that line of questioning through my head, it's starting to look like my heart is who replying. And my heart ain't never right. But it makes sense. If you put your heart in your head, you wouldn't be able to think straight. I was playing my part. I was thinking with my heart, but my heart not smart. DT's on my head, and that's why I'm stuck. Wanna know why he do what he did, and my head say, cut him off, kid. Streets G4G. Do you love me? I probably went like the next 2 or 3 days hitting the sun up to see if he had responded yet. Of course, the sun kept saying no. But at this point, I was just making sure that what I was thinking was right. What I came up with is I'm a real one. Like all the way real. Everybody don't deserve me. It was even people that I came to the conclusion about even after my camera got stolen and after I cut everybody off. I just watched people move in ways that I have never moved with them. I took it like, oh, okay. So as far as that machine went, I chalked it up like, you know what? He can keep that machine, keep everything with it. At the end of the day, if that machine is worth trading in a real nigga for it, you enjoy that. You'll never be able to hit my line again. Now, truth be told, he's still locked up. And I'm pretty sure he know he still got my machine. I'm pretty sure he know I was still in need of it. But it's cool. I'm going to bounce back by another one. And I'm going to boom bigger than ever. The way I'm starting to see it is God pulled people away from my table when I'm too sucker to do it myself. Some people might call it petty, but I look at stuff in the longevity. If a $300 machine was enough to make you cross me out at a time I needed you the most, what would the time be called for when I'm 100 M's up? And you just around me just because I got love for you? You gotta think of shit like that, bro. If they put effort into getting you on a small scale, just imagine what they'll do on a larger scale. Any sign of snake, you gotta go. Period. That's how I move. And the only people that'll tell me to move different is the people who reap the consequences of doing it. Who cares about what they gotta say? Thank you, God. Chapter 11, CC in my press. Now I'm convinced that my own homeboy got me for my shirt set up, when the only reason he had it was to help him out. I thought to myself, how else could I get some money? I can't really trip about that, and he locked up, so I can't even do nothing about it. Once again, this is how God work in my life. It's the reason for everything. Nothing I just said was out of place. Start thinking like, since I can't get my shirt system back, wait a minute. CC got a whole shirt system. She don't even use it. She got my press, she got a printer, and she got a cutter. And since she had it, I only seen her make 2 orders. She already know what happened with me, and she knows that the biggest part of my revenue comes from that camera. So I know she know I'm down bad. I'm financially down bad and mentally down bad. I figured it wouldn't be a problem. I mean, she had my press for like 3-4 months. I'm only gonna need her equipment for like 60 days, at max. But when I was about to call her, something told me to send her a text message. And I thought to myself, what's the point of doing that? If I send her a text message, I gotta wait for her to respond. Something inside of me said, that's what you wanna see. How long is she gonna take to respond to you being down? In that moment, I figured how long she took to respond to me being down would determine the rest of our friendship. I mean, it ain't like she come through like I come through for her anyway. But I always overlook things. And like I said, when it's time for people to get out of my life, based off the size of my heart, via my wisdom's intellect, God will always put me in a position where the people I run for, I just need them to walk for me. And they won't even move. And I feel like he do that because it incentivizes me to cut them off. Because they can't come where I'm going. They're not even built to go where I'm going. I love, but I'm me. And I ain't never had no money. And I'm cooler than niggas I know with money. Standing beside them and all, with no designer on. So it'll be just like me to get a plate big enough to feed whoever I wanted from God and let these leeches come around me and eat everything off my plate they never helped me try to get. So I sent the text. Needless to say, she went hours before she responded to me. And in the text I had asked her, hey, you still using your machine at the moment? I can't imagine how many people she got on the phone and called and basically told them about my situation. And then probably told them the reason she wasn't going to respond. And probably ended it with why she wasn't going to let me use her machine. How do I know, you ask? Because I'm an analytical guy. One thing I know is you can learn a lot from a person watching what they do and how they treat people who do for them. Sometimes when I'm around people and I watch them do dirt to people that go to bat for them, I can't help but to think like, damn, you would do that to me. But anyway, in my opinion, she started taking too long to answer my text. So I got tired of waiting for it, and I just decided to put pressure on her just by calling her and asking her and just giving her no time to fumble. So I called her and asked her, could I use her machine for a little bit? Mind you, this is the same person that had a piece of my machine for several months. This is the same person that calls herself my sister every time she need me to do something. This is the same person I go to bat for. Guess what she say? What you mean, use it like right now? Cause I gotta make an order for my sister. I said, nah, like use it for like a month. She was like, yeah, see, I gotta make an order for my sister. I almost snapped on her on the phone, but I kinda felt like a place of peace in my body. Cause in my mind I said, it's over. She done. I'll never extend my hand again. Chapter 12, everything happens for a reason. I've been through a lot of trials and tribulations in my life, and anybody that knows me will tell you that ever since I came home from the prison, I just felt in my soul that I was supposed to be doing something as far as my creation. At first I came home, I thought it was rapping. We had an incident where the cameraman that was shooting my videos wouldn't shoot my videos no more, so I kind of had to learn how to shoot videos, to shoot my own. I went about 2 years of shooting videos of quality that disgusted me, or shooting videos of quality that made me not even want to look at my own videos. But after that 2 years, it started looking like glass. And to everybody who can't catch my lingo, when I say it started to look like glass, the most simplest way I could put it is, my videos went from looking like it was shot on a camera flip phone till it was shot by some producers that put it on BET. I was gonna quit so many times in that process though, not being able to see the end of the tunnel, not being able to see the light, but I just kept on going. Sometimes I ain't even know why I kept going, but I ended up reaching the end of that tunnel. I got to that light, now it's glass. Not only am I shooting my own videos, but people are paying me to shoot videos. Not only are people paying me, they flying me out of state. Mind blowing. Even when I think about the times I had in my childhood, from getting abused, not sexually, more like just getting beat, having people I love dearly crush my feelings, going outside getting beat up, kind of losing interest in having a relationship with my family as a youngin'. But see, when I look back at it, with the faith I got in my God now, I kind of go from having eyesight to what I would call mindsight. And in my opinion, eyesight is when you try to look at it as a human. The only things you're going to be able to see are humane. But when you're looking at it with mindsight, it's almost like God's sight. Like with eyesight, in this life you take L's. Those are losses. But with mindsight, in this life you take L's. But those ones mean lessons. It's like the difference between who gets better and who grows bitter. See, because when you're looking at it through eyesight, you only going to understand as far as your mind can understand. But since when has a human mind been able to understand God's plans before it all the way played out? I don't know that to be the case too often. But when you got mindsight, you use your past as references and incentives to why you supposed to just believe in them. You supposed to just trust them. I can honestly say it was a lot of parts of my life that I thought was bad. And when I got older and I was able to look back, some of those same situations and phases were the reasons I was standing so tall in the situations I was in now. So it kind of forced me to start thinking like, no time was a bad time. No phase of my life was a bad phase. It was all necessary. So when I did used to get beat, it was necessary for that to be. That's why I'm able to go out of town by myself everywhere. I mean everywhere. I'm by myself. I may pull up with whoever, but I'm by myself. And I'm confident in myself. I know that was on the flip side of those whoopings. You could take it to when I said I lost interest in being cool with some of my family members that I loved most. I now have the ability that when God puts me in a position to do so, I can cut you off and it won't even bother me. Where whomever may think about it, it don't cross my mind 2 times. Because I know if we was ever cool, I loved you first. I loved you for real. And I know how cold this world really is. So if you're ever blessed to have a friend like me, the chances are pretty high that you're not even going to appreciate them until you lost a couple of them. See, when you lose them, you learn that you ain't got to have them. And when you learn you ain't got to have them, when you do find them back in your possession, you cherish them different. Because you lost them before. Nothing was ever special to me about opening the refrigerator until I got locked up. And I had to get fed when they told me it was time to eat. And I had to eat food that was never by my choice. I really had a moment one of the first times I got released out of the detention center. And I came in my mama's kitchen and opened the refrigerator. Like I had a whole epiphany, like, damn, I really don't gotta be doing this. It made me start looking around for other things I took for granted. Started moving different. So where someone with a bitter mind to say, She did me bad. He did me bad. They did me bad. Someone would trust in God or say, God taught me this using her. Or God taught me that using him. Or God taught me this, that, and that using all of them. And you'll appreciate the lesson. When you're bitter, it blocks your blessings because you can't see your blessings. But when you're better, it raises your awareness for them. So, I want to thank God for all my trials and tribulations. I want to thank God for everything he ever took from me, every lesson that was behind it. I also want to thank him for the people he put in my life that I ran hard for, that flaked on me. Because in me getting that attitude about what you did or how you carried it, motivated the distance I put between us. And in that distance, I learned to grow fond of his voice. That's how I made this audio book. And I took the time out to put all this in this book to give you a reference. When you get to a place in your life when you by yourself, look for them lessons. You finding them lessons, I'll make it worth the stressing. But if you don't find those lessons, you're going to stay where you at. And I ain't no guidance counselor by far. I'm more so just telling you what worked out for me. Me being separated from everybody allowed me to hear my thoughts enough to make this book. Me being separated from everybody gave me the chance to realize that me shooting videos and basing my whole revenue off a camera was like a one-leg table. If you kick that one leg, my whole table fall on the ground. So now me being titled an author opens up another revenue, amongst other ideas I got from having this time to myself. Separation equals elevation. If I was still around everybody that I've been around, when I got these thoughts, let's say if God put something in my head, I would have brought the idea to whoever I was around. God ain't give it to them, so I wasn't even supposed to tell them, but I tell them. And when I tell them, sometimes their response might discourage me from doing it. Just a simple, I don't know about that, streets. Or maybe be like, yeah, that is kind of crazy. What the hell I'm thinking? And we'll move on. Distractions. In my way. Never thought I'd make an audio book. Never thought I'd make a book. I don't even read books unless I'm locked up. But being that separation equals elevation, in my separation, I elevated and made this right here. Chapter 13. Thank you, God. I feel as heroic as my nephew, Meon Smith. It's my first dog, my first everything. I'm so proud of you, man. Zion, ditto. You're so smart and pretty. You're so different and ahead of the curve and extremely advanced. My nephew Yaden, I remember when you was little, they said your voice was going to be like mine. I laugh when I think about how you used to sound. I love how artistic you are. I like how you like being yourself. And I may encourage you to stay that way. Yourself, just like that. Justice, I see hustling in you already. You used to have a lot of money when I seen you. You wasn't even 5. You couldn't even pronounce your words all the way right. I don't know what you're supposed to be doing or what you're going to end up doing in your life when you get older. But as long as Uncle Marlon got something to do with it, I'm going to show you every bit of insight God give me to give to you. Because just like your brothers and sisters, you special. I love y'all. I miss y'all. I think about y'all all the time. Y'all the strongest kids I know. To all the people I was talking about in this book, I forgive you. I don't fuck with you. You can't call me for nothing. But I forgive you. And to myself, I forgive you too. Also to myself, thank you. You been doing a hell of a job, black man. You ain't been smoking no cigarettes. You ain't been having sex. You been staying focused. You been staying by yourself. And you been getting real in tune. I also want to thank my daughter. Because right now I can't talk to her. Because of the way her mama feel about me not having no money. So I'm blocked. But let this ring as lesson in your ear. 7. I love you so much. I'm about to go through the court just to get back close to you. And I'm a whole ex-convict, so I hate the court. But I love you that much. I want to dedicate this book to you, my baby, my twin, my everything. I want to dedicate this book to Diamante Brown. I think about you almost every day. Your picture's right beside me right now while I'm doing this whole book. I want to dedicate it to Devontae Bailey. I miss you all the time, bro. I want to dedicate it to my sister. May you rest in peace. I want to dedicate this to my grandma Peach. I still remember when everybody used to call me bad. That one time you called me to the side and you asked me, did I think I was bad? And I said, yeah. Too young to understand that I really was just saying yeah because that was always what they called me. Bad. And you said, Shay, you not bad. You special. I'm finally walking like that. I miss you, Grandma. I miss you, Aunt Rhonda. I miss you, Dion. I miss you, Nitty. I miss you, Capone. I treat the people I love just like I treated y'all. That ain't gonna never change. I'm gonna miss you till I see you. And this shit for us. Thank you for anybody who took the time out to listen to this audiobook. My audiobook, Separation Equals Elevation. And like I said, the point of this book is to give you references and reasons to believe in God and believe in his process. He amazing, bro. If y'all ever see Seven, whenever you see her, every time you see her, you make sure you tell her daddy love her while I'm here and when I'm gone. That's how you show me love. I'm gone.